Hollywood, starred as an agent. Greetings, fellow multiversal adventurers. It's an honor to have you back in this saga that has us all hooked. Official channel statement: this story is 100% epic fiction. So please don't attempt real magic, the results aren't guaranteed and insurance won't cover it. The rights to this masterpiece belong entirely to its brilliant original author. We are just a barge sharing it with you. Do you want to keep being part of this amazing community? Join our ninja army of subscribers on YouTube and give this content a like. And for true fans, our Patreon has exclusive ninjutsu waiting for you. Chapter 376. Everyone wants a high pay. That night, Aaron and Nicole Kidman left Warner Brothers Studios and returned to their Pacific Palisades villa in Santa Monica. My friend, Naomi Watts, seems to have wrapped filming on the action movie The Rock. She called to thank me. On the bedroom bed, Nicole Kidman lay on Aaron, her blonde hair loose and alluring. Well, it's just a supporting role. The main roles go to Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. Aaron caressed the girl's body, remembering that Naomi Watts was indeed a blonde beauty. Nicole Kidman smiled, nuzzled into Aaron's body, and then sat up. Well, she really wanted to thank you. Aaron smiled without saying anything, reaching out to caress the girl's softness. Wasn't that enough just now? What do you think? Nicole Kidman smoothed back her long golden hair. Soon, the room was once again filled with the sounds of babbling. Time Warner's acquisition of Turner Entertainment gave the company a soft landing after its downturn. In particular, the winds of change began to turn when major shareholder Ted Turner relinquished management rights and agreed to let Gerald Levine take the helm. Ted Turner also pledged to establish a cooperative operating system, cut costs, and restructure the organization, playing a crucial role in Time Warner's resurgence. Gerald Levine, the 56-year-old strategist who rose through the ranks at HBO, had become a Wall Street darling. Helming the world's largest media conglomerate was no mere formality. Hollywood, Universal City. Aaron sat in the chair in the office, taking a sip of champagne lazily. Charles Johnson, chairman of the Franklin Templeton Fund, who was sitting next to him, was very excited. Aaron, Wall Street is very interested in Sugan stock. Sugan's listing will definitely set off the entire Wall Street. Aaron glanced at the other party and glanced down. The listing documents on the table showed that Sugan would issue shares at a price of $35 per share, and Sugan's estimated total share capital was 420 million shares. Is this the final price? Charles Johnson shook his head. There may be slight deviations, but Sugang's valuation of around $15 billion is about right. Then, Charles Johnson glanced at Aaron again. The merger of film groups and television stations seems to be the new trend. Time Warner and Disney's experiences are right before our eyes. Doesn't Sugang have any ideas? Aaron smiled. Don't worry, it's not the right time yet. Disney needs to integrate ABC, and Time Warner needs to restructure Turner. Both will take time. The impact of the internet needs to be considered. Time Warner is betting big on cable. After all, American Television Communications, controlled by Time Incorporated, is the second largest cable operator in the United States, second only to TCI. AT&T, American Telephone and Telegraph, was split into several companies due to its excessive size and antitrust concerns. The current AT&T is also growing rapidly. Among cable operators, Comcast, controlled by the Roberts family, is also making inroads. Although Comcast's support for QVC's acquisition of Paramount failed, Comcast's expansion into the cable TV sector hasn't stopped. Charles Johnson warned, Wall Street is very bullish on cable TV. CNN, ESPN, MTV, and HBO are all kings in their respective fields. TBS, USA, TNT, FX, Sci-Fi, AMC, Showtime, and other cable channels also present significant competition. Aaron tapped the table. Cable TV channels are also a key focus for Sugan. But Sugan's greatest advantage is content. If we have the chance, Sugan will compete with HBO for the position of premium cable network. Aaron stood up. You go to New York first. I'll be there by mid-next month. Sugan went public the day before Thanksgiving. Meanwhile, Twilight Pictures released the comedy horror film Scream, which grossed over $40 million at the North American box office, a far better result than the previous Garage horror. Separately, the project for The English Patient was officially finalized. After 20th Century Fox withdrew, Universal took over the script and invested $25 million in the film. Meanwhile, Warner Brothers picked up the disaster film the 1989 Film Festival, previously abandoned by Universal. This $80 million disaster film, starring Sylvester Stallone, ultimately survived. At Dawn headquarters in Burbank, Arnold Schwarzenegger got a lead in The Missing, for $20 million, and Stallone got a lead in the 1989 Film Festival for another $17.5 million. Aaron shook his head. Sony's $20 million payout to Jim Carrey for Kingsman had clearly set a bad precedent. Now, even top Hollywood actors want $20 million. Brad Gray smiled and spread his hands. Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger are top action stars, after all, and Mel Gibson, Bruce Wesley, Harrison Ford, and the likes. They're also going to get top pay. Aaron leaned back in his chair. If you want a high paycheck, you have to have the performance to match. These American actors have really been spoiled by Hollywood. Next month, Universal will release Casino, a gangster crime film directed by Martin Scorsese and starring Robert De Niro, Sharon Stone, and Joe Pesci. Brad Gray had come to discuss the film's marketing plans with Aaron. Casino will have its premiere in New York mid-next month, followed by its official release. After all, with such a big director and such big stars, Casino is certainly something to look forward to. Gangster films are Martin Scorsese's specialty. At the end of the year, Crescent Pictures will release Sense and Sensibility and A Man Walking, both of which are aimed at winning awards. We need to pay attention to publicity and marketing. Sugan just acquired Universal this year, and we have to maintain our artistry. After all, Sugan has already won the Oscar for Best Picture 3 times with The Silence of the Lambs, Schindler's List and Forrest Gump. We can't just not perform well at the Oscars after acquiring Universal. Even if we can't win the award, we still have to be nominated. Brad Gray nodded. The previews of Sense and Sensibility and A Man Walking were very good. Both films have received high praise from critics and journalists. Sense and Sensibility was produced by Sugan and Phantom Productions, invested and distributed by Sugan, and A Man Walking was produced by Polygram Pictures, and Sugan is responsible for its North American distribution. Chapter 377 The Ultimate Goal. That evening, at a West Hollywood club, Aaron and Leon Cooperman of Omega Advisors sat on a couch, discussing investment opportunities. As an early investor in Omega Advisors, Aaron was very pleased with its returns over the past few years. Does Omega still have a lot of business focused on Russia? Aaron asked, taking a sip of his drink. Leon Cooperman nodded. Russia is a huge market. After shock therapy, Russia entered an era of oligarchic economics. This is a great opportunity for us. Omega is one of the 4 largest hedge funds on Wall Street, alongside Quantum, Tiger Management, and Long-Term Capital Management. However, Omega lacks the star power of the other 3. Leon Cooperman's 25 years at Goldman Sachs are its biggest selling point. Aaron smiled. Southeast Asia has been developing rapidly in recent years. Countries like Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia have been aggressively developing their financial markets. There have been a lot of problems, haven't there? Leon Cooperman smiled and took a sip of his wine. When the time is right, it's our chance. The United States is reaping the benefits of global dominance through military force and finance. American capital roams the international financial markets, practically unstoppable. Wall Street investment banks act as command posts, commercial banks provide leverage, accounting firms provide information, rating agencies create opportunities, and finally, hedge funds carry out the attacks, unstoppable. By the way, what brings you to Los Angeles this time? Leon Cooperman spends most of his time in New York and rarely visits Los Angeles. Leon Cooperman was about to speak when he suddenly noticed someone approaching. Aaron, let me introduce you to 2 people. They're also my clients. Soon, 2 middle-aged and elderly people in their 40s and 50s approached. This is Philip Onschutz, an oilman from Colorado. This is Edward Lasky Jr., a real estate businessman from Southern California, Leon Cooperman said, looking at the 2 men and smiling. As for this, the famous Hollywood golden boy Aaron Anderson, no introduction is needed. After shaking hands with the 2 men, Aaron looked at them. He didn't remember Edward Lasky Jr.'s words. However, Aaron did know Philip Onschutz, the future builder of Staples Center, the second largest shareholder of the Los Angeles Lakers, and the owner of the Bank of Los Angeles. Good evening, Aaron, it's a pleasure to meet you, Philip Onschutz said with a smile. Aaron nodded. The Onschutz family, as Colorado's oil family, is like California's Getty family. In 1978, beneath the 3.6 million hectare Onschutz Ranch in Colorado, The largest oil deposit in the United States since 1969 was discovered. This discovery shocked the United States, and in 1982, Philip Anschutz sold half of his interest in the oil field to Mobil Oil, formerly Standard Oil of New York, for $500 million, becoming Colorado's sole billionaire. To this day, the Anschutz family remains the richest family in Colorado. Leon Cooperman reminded him, "Aaron, Philip and Edward Jr. just teamed up to acquire a 50% stake in the NHL's Los Angeles Kings, entering the sports world, and you own the NBA's Houston Rockets. Perhaps you'll have something in common." Aaron glanced at the two men again. One was an oil family, the other a real estate family. Entering the sports world? "Gentlemen, I don't know much about ice hockey. It seems that you want to build a new stadium in Los Angeles. The home of the Los Angeles Kings is the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, which is also the home of the Los Angeles Lakers." Aaron certainly knew what the Great Western Forum looked like. Jerry Buss also wanted to own a new stadium. Edward Roski Jr. finally spoke at this time. "Yes, Aaron, Philip and I do want to build a new multifunctional high-tech indoor stadium in Los Angeles, just like the Dawn Center in Houston. It will serve as the home of the NBA's Los Angeles Lakers and the NHL's Los Angeles Kings. You know, because of the stadium, there is no football in Los Angeles. The Raiders moved from the Los Angeles Memorial Stadium to Oakland, and the Rams moved from the Angel Stadium of Anaheim to St. Louis. Now, the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Anaheim Angels of the Baseball League are both struggling, and we want to change that." After listening to Edward Roski Jr., Aaron was a little confused. "You want to join me to build a new stadium in Los Angeles?" Edward Roski Jr. smiled. "I also hope you can help convince Jerry Buss. After all, the representative team of Los Angeles is the Lakers." Leon Cooperman interrupted. "Aaron, you have a special status in Los Angeles and the entire California. Perhaps you know Jerry Buss better." Aaron spread his hands. "If you're willing to build a new stadium in Los Angeles, Jerry Buss would definitely move the Lakers there. However, building a large stadium in Los Angeles is no easy feat, especially with land shortages in downtown. I can help with that. I know quite a few members of the city council." Philip Anschutz nodded. "With your help, Aaron, it'll definitely be much easier." Philip Anschutz glanced at Aaron and asked, "I'm actually very interested in sports and entertainment. The Los Angeles Kings are just the beginning. During last year's World Cup in the United States, the president of the U.S. Soccer Association promised to form a professional soccer league, and then joined forces with us to form the MLS, Major League Soccer. This year, I also invested in an MLS team, the Colorado Rapids. So, Aaron, are you interested in getting involved?" Aaron was stunned. "MLS? Now, isn't that just a fixed annual loss? America's soccer desert, for no reason?" Aaron shook his head. "Mr. Anschutz, the influence of football in the United States is really too small. MLS still has a long way to go to develop, and I don't have much time now. In the United States, what Aaron most wants to acquire is definitely a rugby club, and the NFL league is Aaron's ultimate goal. He already owns an NBA club, and in the future Aaron will also acquire an MLB team and an NFL club. If the MLB Los Angeles Dodgers are for sale, Aaron will definitely make a move." Philip Anschutz raised his glass and clinked it with Aaron. "I see. It seems that we should start preparing for the new stadium in Los Angeles. Next, Aaron, I hope you can help introduce Jerry Buss to us." Sure, Aaron had no objection. It was just a small favor after all. It was estimated that Philip Anschutz would buy some Lakers shares from Jerry Buss. The Anschutz family is quite powerful in Colorado and owns large tracts of land. The ranches there are also very good, and Aaron is interested in it. Edward Roski Jr. is also a large real estate businessman in Southern California and owns a lot of land there. Maybe there will be opportunities for cooperation in the future? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 378 That Waste. There's more and more money pouring into Hollywood these days, Aaron lamented after chatting with a few people. Philip Anschutz came to Los Angeles and entered the sports world first, so he's definitely going to enter the entertainment industry too. Leaning back on the sofa, Aaron took a sip from his glass on the table. The 1995-1996 NBA season had already begun. Although the Houston Rockets had Dennis Rodman, They weren't confident they could win another championship and complete the Triple Crown. "Hey, Aaron, you're here too. Can you buy me a drink?" Suddenly, a voice called out. Aaron looked up. It was Gwyneth Paltrow. "Sit down, thank you." Gwyneth Paltrow sat down next to Aaron and smiled. "I don't see your girlfriend. Are you alone?" "I just came here on short notice." "Why, you're here alone too?" Ever since her relationship with Brad Pitt was revealed, Gwyneth Paltrow's profile has skyrocketed. Brad Pitt is undoubtedly the dream man of countless women. "I got a script, based on Jane Austen's novel of the same name, Emma." Gwyneth Paltrow didn't hide it. "Emma." Aaron then glanced at the woman beside him. Gwyneth Paltrow herself was blonde, slim, and stylishly dressed. "Well, it's a Miramax production. Doesn't one have a Jane Austen adaptation of Sense and Sensibility coming out?" "Miramax, so it's Harvey Weinstein." Aaron smiled. "Disney hasn't fired this idiot yet. Miramax is a complete mess right now. No awards, no box office, and Disney has lost a lot of money pursuing so-called art films. However, adaptations of Jane Austen's novels generally receive good reviews. The AMC-BBC collaboration, Pride and Prejudice, has already aired, and has received good ratings and critical acclaim in the UK. With your standards, of course you don't look down on Miramax." Gwyneth Paltrow rolled her eyes. "But why don't you mention that there are so many actors in Hollywood who don't have any work to do? Miramax is considered a good independent film company, at least it can get projects underway." "Okay, I'm going home," Aaron said, standing up. After finishing things in Los Angeles, they'll head to New York again to await the launch of Dawn. Gwyneth Paltrow was taken aback. "Ah, so early, bye." Aaron simply waved and left. Gwyneth Paltrow stamped her foot. Aaron Anderson, with his current status and wealth, was a deadly attraction for women. Especially with the upcoming summer release and his ambition to create Hollywood glory, he was a perfect match for Hollywood's female stars. Aaron had agreed to help connect them with Philip Anschutz and Edward Lasky Jr., so he met with Jerry Buss first. For this poker player and philandering NBA owner, the Los Angeles Lakers are his most valuable asset. Upon hearing that Edward Lasky Jr. and Philip Anschutz wanted to build a new indoor arena in Los Angeles, Jerry Buss naturally supported it. "Aaron, are you interested?" Jerry Buss certainly didn't have the money himself, and the high cost of a new arena made him worried that the other two wouldn't be able to afford it. Aaron shook his head. "Not really, but from what Philip Anschutz said, he's hoping for city support. After all, most arenas these days are built with government funding and leased to clubs. Few, like Aaron, put their own money in. The city probably won't contribute much, so we'll have to primarily finance it," Jerry Buss said. He had always wanted the Lakers to own a new arena, but he couldn't convince the Los Angeles City Council. Aaron took a sip of wine. "If nothing unexpected happens, Philip Anschutz should be able to handle these, but half of the shares of the Los Angeles Kings will definitely not satisfy him. As the representative of Los Angeles, what he wants most is the shares of the Lakers." Jerry Buss nodded. He must have guessed that Philip Anschutz must have his own purpose since he invested so much. Becoming a shareholder of the Lakers would be worth his time and effort to build a new stadium in Los Angeles. The previous Los Angeles earthquake damaged a lot of places. Now, lobbying the city council to build a new indoor stadium has a very high chance of success. Jerry Buss smiled and changed the subject. "Aaron, the Rockets won 2 championship rings in a row. This season, I believe it will be the same." "Oh, who doesn't want to win 3 consecutive championships?" Aaron leaned back on the sofa. "But the competition is fierce." As for the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan returned in the late regular season last year and may not have adapted yet, but this season, it's hard to say. During the off-season, Michael Jordan trained all summer. Jerry Buss touched his chin. "The Bulls seem to be pursuing Dennis Rodman. The Rockets shouldn't trade, right?" Aaron spread his hands. "Who knows? After all, everyone knows what kind of person Dennis Rodman is. If he makes the Rockets' locker room a mess, that definitely won't work." However, the Houston Rockets had just won 2 consecutive championships and were on a roll. With superstars Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler leading the charge, they could probably keep Dennis Rodman in check for a while. "What a shame, the Lakers are just a playoff team now," Jerry Buss sighed. "Okay, I've got your message. You guys can figure out what to do next." "Haha, Aaron, aren't you afraid the Lakers will become a formidable enemy for the Rockets?" "A formidable enemy? Don't worry. I also hope the NBA continues to grow. Besides, with me around, The Rockets' future is bright. Aaron had already made up his mind. If the Rockets didn't win the championship this year, they would have to rebuild. The future of the Rockets veterans was truly bleak. In the afternoon, after returning to Burbank, Christiana Yeri came to Aaron's office. "Aaron, the White House called and wants you to come to Washington, D.C. It's a message from White House Chief of Staff Leon Panetta." Aaron nodded. "Make arrangements with Washington and come with me." Chapter 379 The Colorful President. Evening at the JW Marriott Hotel in Washington, D.C. Aaron rolled off Christiana Yeri and exhaled a few times. "Aaron, are you going to the White House to meet with the President of the United States?" Christiana Yeri's face flushed, her beautiful face radiating an alluring fragrance. "Yes, tomorrow we are going to the White House," Aaron said, hugging Christiana Yeri in his arms. He didn't really know what the matter was. Leon Panetta had simply said that Clinton wanted to meet with him. Christiana Yeri nodded. "Donning is going public. I think it's related to this. The connection between Hollywood and Washington is so tight." "Maybe," Aaron shook his head, "but there was definitely more to it than that. It was probably related to TV stations like ABC and CNN. Disney's acquisition of ABC, Time Warner's acquisition of Turner Broadcasting Network, these were major events that could shake up Hollywood. Donning had acquired Universal, but it didn't own a national TV station. He had no idea what Clinton wanted to discuss with him. "We'll find out tomorrow," Aaron said, patting Christiana Yeri in his arms. "Get some rest, okay?" The next day, Aaron and Leon Panetta went to the White House, ready to meet with Clinton in the Oval Office. "Wait a minute, Mr. President is meeting with Treasury Secretary Robert Rubin." In the lounge, Leon Panetta made Aaron a cup of coffee. "Mr. President, is there something going on?" Aaron asked. Leon Panetta shook his head. "I don't know the details, but it's probably related to Sugan. Sugan is about to go public, and after acquiring Universal, Sugan's dominance in Hollywood has become even more solid. Cultural industry exports have always been a key policy of the United States." Aaron picked up his coffee and stirred it slowly with a spoon. "Isn't it related to Fox News?" Aaron was close to the Bush family in Texas, so it must have had some influence. Leon Panetta smiled. "That's a free economic activity. What's the big deal?" Aaron shook his head. "This is the closest one has ever come to a news station. FNC will be a formidable rival to CNN in the future. Besides, CNN's future is bleak now that Ted Turner is gone, relying on those profit-seeking Jews." A few moments later, a staff member came in to report. "Okay, Aaron," Leon Panetta said, and he led Aaron to the Oval Office. In the hallway, the two men encountered a young woman. Judging from the direction they were coming from, she must have come from the Oval Office. Leon Panetta frowned and shook his head slightly. Aaron, of course, noticed the other man's expression. "What's wrong?" "Oh, nothing. Who is that woman?" "Just a White House intern named Monica Lewinsky, who came here this year." Aaron was stunned for a moment, then suddenly realized something, and couldn't help but say, "It seems the American president really has a lot of free time. Life in the White House is really colorful." Leon Panetta smiled. "Just a recent college graduate interning," Aaron sighed. "Don't forget, I'm from Hollywood. I've seen all kinds of women. But he's the President of the United States after all. Playing this kind of game in the Oval Office is really exciting, but it seems like you're all used to these things." Leon Panetta smiled but said nothing. Aaron, of course, didn't bother to care about it. That was Clinton's nature. When Aaron arrived in the Oval Office, Clinton just came out of the bathroom. "Aaron, good afternoon." Clinton shook Aaron's hand and invited him to sit down. "Good afternoon, Mr. President." Fortunately, the other party had washed his hands, otherwise, Aaron really didn't dare to shake hands with him. "Aaron, is there any problem with Sugan's listing?" Aaron shook his head. "It went smoothly. Sugan is doing pretty well in Hollywood now." Clinton laughed. "Aaron, Sugan is more than good, it is simply invincible. In terms of movies alone, you are the overlord of Hollywood." Aaron spread his hands. "The revenue of the movie itself is not enough. There are also upstream and downstream supply chains, consumer goods markets, etc. Add to that the TV broadcasting network, Sugan still has a gap, not to mention compared with Disney and Time Warner, Viacom's annual revenue is also higher than Sugan. Take your time. Now that you have the backing of Universal Pictures and the support of Universal Studios, I believe it won't be long before you'll explode." "I hope so." "Doesn't Universal have a movie called The American President coming out next month?" Aaron thought for a moment and nodded. It's a co-production between Universal and Sony Columbia. Sony is distributing it in North America, and Universal is only responsible for the international market. The movie Clinton was referring to, The American President, is a feature film directed by Rob Rein, starring Michael Douglas, Annette Bening, Martin Sheen, and others. Recently, the U.S. economy has been growing rapidly. Last year, Mr. Greenspan was worried about overheating, so the Federal Reserve raised interest rates to prevent inflation, and now, the rate hikes have stopped. Alan Greenspan, chairman of the Federal Reserve, has been re-elected for 2 terms. If nothing unexpected happens, Clinton will definitely reappoint him for a 3rd term next year. As you know, my approval rating has dipped recently due to recent international and domestic events. I'm wondering if you could develop a positive film about the President of the United States. This year, major events have occurred domestically, including the Oklahoma City bombing and the San Diego veterans tank demonstrations. Internationally, there have been issues like U.S.-Japan trade and the Sino-U.S.-Taiwan Strait crisis. Aaron inquired, how about developing a film with the President of the United States as the protagonist? Clinton nodded. The President of the United States needs a kind, brave, just, and fearless hero. As for The American President, which will be released next month and can be considered a presidential romance, Clinton wasn't entirely satisfied. Aaron tapped the table. Universal will begin preparations as soon as possible, but with a presidential election next year, it probably won't be in time. It won't be released until the year after next at the earliest. That's okay. The U.S. economy continues to improve, and I have a strong chance of re-election in next year's election. That's great. Aaron also believed that with the current U.S. economic growth and declining unemployment, Clinton's approval rating would be very high. Clinton smiled. Also, Aaron, the Washington Post Group wants to strengthen its partnership with the Dawn Group. I'm very optimistic about the future of Dawn. Chapter 380, Can't Eat Alone. That evening, a cocktail party was underway at the Intercontinental Hotel in Washington. Aaron, of course, brought Christiana Yeri along. Clinton's desire for closer cooperation between Dawn and the Washington Post Group clearly had other motives. Developing a film praising the president was much simpler. The Washington Post, after all, is a benchmark newspaper in American politics. Its subsidiaries, the Washington Post and Newsweek, boast large circulations and a profound legacy. More importantly, the Washington Post Group belongs to the Graham family, the most important political voice controlled by the Jewish people. After leading the Washington Post to its peak, its leader, Katharine Graham, was hailed as the First Lady of American newspapers. Leon Panetta whispered, "The Graham family's influence in Washington is immense." Katharine Graham has extensive connections in politics and finance. Aaron nodded. Katharine Graham's revelations about the Pentagon and Watergate scandals directly forced Nixon's resignation and established the Washington Post. A moment later, Katharine Graham's eldest son, Donald Graham, approached. "Good evening, Aaron." "Good evening." Donald Graham smiled and shook Aaron's hand. Mr. Anderson, at such a young age, has already achieved such success at the awning. I'm truly enviable. Donald Graham was already 50 years old. His mother, Katharine Graham, 78, had handed the Washington Post to him last year. As a leading figure in Washington's Jewish community, the Graham family needed to maintain access to all aspects of Clinton's life. Dawning's influence was considerable, but was there no Jewish capital behind its helmsman, Aaron Anderson? The Washington Post Company is very optimistic about Su Guang's future and hopes to invest, in the future, with the influence of the Washington Post and Newsweek. Su Guang's marketing will be excellent. Aaron, what do you think? Aaron nodded with a smile. Of course, Su Guang is about to go public. If the Washington Post Company is interested, they can provide more support. Haha, that makes sense. Donald Graham also laughed. Aaron, we can also have some communication with the News Corporation. Su Guang is interested in FNC. Perhaps we can help. You know, the Washington Post Company is quite well connected in political circles. It will definitely help Su Guang's public relations. Aaron narrowed his eyes and glanced at Katharine Graham, who was standing nearby. Next to her was Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan. Katharine Graham's father, Eugene Meyer, had also served as Federal Reserve Chairman and later became the first president of the World Bank Group. Su Guang's public relations, was this a desire to serve as a bridge between Su Guang and Washington, to influence Su Guang's political will? Mr. Graham, That's not how we negotiate a partnership. Everything has to wait until Soo-kwon goes public, Aaron now understood. They were probably behind the previous attempt to prevent Soo-kwon from participating in the formation of FNC. Katharine Graham had considerable resources within the Associated Press and United Press International. How could a news station bypass the two major American news agencies? Donald Graham was stunned for a moment before sighing. That's a shame. I hope it won't affect our cooperation. Soo-kwon Group had a lot of advertising business with the Washington Post and News Corporation, which was a source of revenue. Back at the JW Marriott Hotel, Aaron felt a little irritated. Dealing with these politicians was a real headache. What's wrong, Aaron? Aaron was admiring the night view of Washington, D.C., by the hotel window when Christiana Yeri, dressed in sexy silk pajamas, approached him. Nothing, Aaron said, pulling Christiana Yeri into his arms and kissing her. Really? I sense you're a little upset, Christiana Yeri said as she rubbed against the man's body. Aaron smiled and kissed the girl on the lips, reaching into her pajamas to feel the softness. Christiana Yeri responded enthusiastically, pressing tightly against the man's chest. The sexy and fiery Christiana Yeri quickly became aroused. After the kiss, she pushed Aaron onto the sofa and leaned over. Honey, let me help you relax, huh? Aaron leaned on the sofa and reached out to touch Christiana Yeri's long black hair. Then, Aaron took the phone next to him and called Jack Wells. Jack, go to Houston and visit former Treasury Secretary Lloyd Bentsen Jr. for me. Lloyd Bentsen Jr., okay, what's going on? I'd like to invite him to join Soo-kwon's board of directors. Lloyd Bentsen Jr., a former Texas Democratic senator, had previously served 4 terms. After Clinton took office, he resigned to become Treasury Secretary. Unfortunately, he lasted just over a year before resigning due to internal turmoil, replaced by Robert Rubin, a Jew. Now 74, Lloyd Bentsen Jr. has essentially settled into retirement, but he graduated from law school and has experience in financial entrepreneurship. His long political career makes him a seasoned political advisor, making him a natural fit for Aaron. Joining Soo-kwon would help him better navigate Washington's relations. Okay, I'll go visit him as soon as possible. Well, I'll also be in Houston after Soo-kwon goes public. After putting down his phone, Aaron closed his eyes and enjoyed Christiana Yeri's attention. He was thinking that in the future, exchanges between Dawn and Washington would inevitably increase, and public relations would become a key focus. Senior executives with extensive political experience would definitely be needed to handle this. How dare the Jews have such fantasies about their own Dawn group? How could they possibly be so foolish? After a while, Aaron relaxed, and Christiana Yeri stood up and sat next to him, leaning against Aaron's chest and smiling. How is it going, dear? Aaron nodded weakly. Great. We'll be staying in Washington for a few days, and then we can just go straight to New York. Aaron had also invested in some congressmen and politicians in Washington, D.C., and he would definitely pay them a visit. Especially since Dawn was about to go public and reap the fruits of its success, Aaron certainly wouldn't sit on his hands. Okay. Chapter 381. A group of madmen. Aaron spent the entire Halloween weekend in Washington, attending cocktail parties and visiting with people, before returning to New York to await Soo-kwon's IPO. Meanwhile, in Houston, Jack Wells arrived at Lloyd Bentsen Jr.'s home. Joined Soo-kwon's board of directors. In his study, Lloyd Bentsen Jr. sipped his coffee. Hollywood's golden boy, what an astonishment, Jack Wells smiled. Soo-kwon's future is limitless, and its ties with Washington are growing stronger. Aaron's too young, and dealing with this stuff is getting a bit tedious for him. Lloyd Bentsen Jr. nodded. I understand that. Hollywood has always been a window for America to export its values globally. Promoting American culture has always been a priority for the government. Lloyd Bentsen Jr. was a moderate Democrat who had previously run for the Texas Senate against George W. Bush and won. Aaron's busy with Soo-kwon's IPO, and he'll come visit later. You know, he owns a team in Houston, Jack Wells replied. Lloyd Bentsen Jr. put down his coffee and said, Dawn's headquarters is in California, but Aaron has a lot of investments in Texas, especially your angel company, Jack. Seems to have a lot of connections with Washington, right? Jack Wells spread his hands and said, yes, Angel Company has some cooperation with the Pentagon to deal with some things that are inconvenient for them. Lloyd Bentsen Jr. understood and asked, how can I help you? Jack Wells did not hide it. Dawn just encountered some problems in Washington, which are related to Jewish forces. Dawn is Aaron's hard work and it can't be touched by other people. Some people are too greedy. Lloyd Benson Jr. sighed. They are indeed greedy. For the sake of profit, they can abandon all ethics, morals, and beliefs. Lloyd Benson Jr. stepped down from the position of Secretary of the Treasury because of Jewish opposition. Clinton kept adding Jewish cabinet members, which made Lloyd Benson Jr. helpless. Are you talking about Aaron encountering difficulties? Jack Wells thought for a moment. It's the Graham family. No wonder. The Graham family has complicated relationships in Washington. The Federal Reserve, the Treasury Department, and the Associated Press are all their people. No president wants to offend them. Lloyd Benson Jr. frowned. In terms of propaganda and rhetoric, the Jews have a strong influence. Before, Aaron wanted to participate in the establishment of the FNC News Channel. It was Governor Bush who arranged it, however, it failed. It was the Graham family who obstructed it. Listening to Jack Wells's statement, Lloyd Benson Jr. nodded. Dawn wants to have its own news network. That's right. National propaganda channels are very important. In Hollywood, Time Warner acquired CNN and Disney acquired ABC, Fox formed the FNC channel, and NBC formed MSNBC. Everyone understands this. This is a struggle for control of public opinion. Jack Wells shrugged. I don't know the details, but with Dawn's current status, ordinary people can't move it. I have great confidence in Aaron. Dawn will soon dominate Hollywood. By then, Washington will know how to choose. At the same time, in early November, another major event occurred internationally. Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated by Jewish extremists while attending a large-scale peace rally in King Square in Tel Aviv. Yitzhak Rabin was committed to Israeli-Palestinian peace. And this rally was also garnering support for the Israel-PLO agreement. Yitzhak Rabin's advocacy of partial territory for peace and a phased solution to the Palestinian issue made him a thorn in the side of Jewish extremists. In New York, Manhattan, Rockefeller Center. In the Universal office, Aaron leaned back in his chair, gazing out the window at the Manhattan skyline. Jack Wells sat beside him, sipping wine. Lloyd Benson Jr. is interested in serving as chairman of Dawn's Public Relations Committee. He wouldn't be happy if the Jews excluded him. Aaron smiled. Well, if Lloyd Benson Jr. doesn't agree, I have other options, but he's quite influential in Texas, which would be better for us. Besides Dawn Group's Texas businesses like the Houston Post and television stations, Aaron's Cheyenne A Fund also has investments in the Houston Rockets and large farms, with more to come. Despite his connections to George W. Bush, it's also reasonable to cultivate relationships with other prestigious figures. Hey, you see, these Jewish extremists are really crazy. It's basically impossible to have peace in the Middle East. Jack Wells just smiled after listening to Aaron's statement. They are all Zionists. Unless they are allowed to establish a greater Israel and occupy the entire Arab world, they are a group of lunatics. Aaron shrugged. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. After Dawn goes public, I will vigorously develop the Universal Studios Resort. The Osaka Universal Studios project in Japan is the next focus, but the expansion of Universal Studios Orlando is also urgent. I need more land around Universal Studios Orlando. Of course, it can't be compared with Disneyland, but the current Universal Studios Orlando is indeed too small. Jack Wells nodded. There's still a lot of land in Orange County, Florida. I'll send someone over to deal with some congressmen over there. Aaron smiled. Okay, take a good rest these few days and wait for Dawn to go public. It's time for us to enjoy the fruits of victory at this stage. Jack Wells has helped Aaron do a lot in the past few years. Although there are businesses such as Angel Companies and IMG Sports Agency, but Aaron will not treat him unfairly. Of course, there are also shares rewarded to him when Dawn goes public. Although it's not much, it's enough. The fruits of victory. Jack Wells didn't care much, and smiled. If I hadn't known you, I would never have reached my current net worth in my life. Millionaires are not everywhere. Don't worry, in a few years, you will be a billionaire. Aaron stood up and patted the other's shoulder. Because Christiana Yeri was busy with this year's Victoria's Secret fashion show, when Aaron returned to his Upper East Side villa that evening, Sophie Marceau was waiting for him. This year's film Braveheart was highly praised, and Mel Gibson was aiming for an Oscar. Sophie Marceau also had to attend some PR receptions in New York and Los Angeles. Chapter 382 Dawn listing. Filming in Hollywood is really tiring. I feel like I never get a break. In the bedroom bed, Sophie Marceau lay on top of Aaron, her expression languid. Feeling the French kiss's sexy, soft body, Aaron simply smiled. Life here in the US is quite different from Europe. There definitely aren't that many vacations. Western and Northern European countries with high welfare benefits know how to enjoy life. In a country like France, with its daily strikes, Sophie Marceau was indeed somewhat unaccustomed to the fast-paced American lifestyle. Sophie Marceau kissed a man. Your Dawn is about to go public. Let's go on vacation to the Caribbean. Winter in New York is tough. Aaron thought for a moment. Sure, let's go after Thanksgiving. How about that? Sure, Sophie Marceau said, simply wanting to rest up. I might even go back to France for a while. With the arrival of November's awards season, Hollywood was buzzing with activity. But the most eye-catching event of the month was Dawn Group's IPO on the Nasdaq. After more than 6 months of preparation and the acquisition of Universal, Dawn was finally officially listed. Before Thanksgiving, it priced 420 million shares at $36 per share, with a total market capitalization of $15.1 billion. Dawn raised $2.2 billion, and its stock price soared from $36 to $43 that day. Aaron's stake increased to 53.2%, and he also received $360 million in cash. A media conglomerate with a market capitalization exceeding $18 billion was born. After Thanksgiving, December arrived, and Sugan's stock price stabilized at $45 per share. Early in the morning at the Pierre Hotel in New York, Aaron shook his head, rising from his bed with a slight hangover, and glanced at Monica Bellucci, who lay beside him. Aaron, are you awake? Monica Bellucci, who had just finished filming Twister, was overjoyed to see Aaron awake. She owned 600,000 shares of Sugan, worth $27 million. Aaron rubbed the woman's 30-60 breasts and said with a smile, "You've been too indulgent these past few days, as you should. Sugan has only been this successful in a few years. There aren't many people in America who can compare to you." Magazines like Time, People, Forbes, and Fortune had all given Aaron Anderson and his Sugan extensive coverage. Aaron climbed out of bed. "Oh, it hurts," Monica Bellucci smiled. "Miss Esther Beckett called. Business Week wants to interview you." Aaron nodded. "Got it. I'll be at the office later." To escape the bothersome reporters, Aaron and Sophie Marceau quickly went on vacation to St. Barths, a small island in the French West Indies in the Caribbean Sea, bordering the Dutch islands of St. Martin, Saba, and Anguilla. Its sunny, scenic, and secluded location make it a favorite among European and American celebrities. Meanwhile, the listing of Dawn Entertainment was another boost to the thriving Hollywood film market. This was especially true for the Seagram Group, which had recently acquired MGM. This year, MGM had invested in and released successful films like GoldenEye, Get Shorty, and Species. Edgar Bronfman Jr., after seeing the success of Dawn Entertainment's IPO, had even more confidence in film and entertainment. Santa Monica, MGM headquarters. Ronald Mayer and Frank Marcuso approached Edgar Bronfman Jr. with a script for the epic disaster film Dense Peak, a $110 million disaster blockbuster. Edgar Bronfman Jr. was a bit surprised. Yes, CGI special effects technology is advancing rapidly these days, and other companies are developing these big-budget disaster films. Dawn had Twister this year, and Independence Day is coming out soon. Warner Brothers has The First Hour coming out next year, and 20th Century Fox is also preparing Titanic, a maritime disaster film, Frank Marcuso explained. This script is about a volcanic eruption, and we plan to make it the largest and most realistic volcanic eruption ever. It's going to be directed by Roger Donaldson, the director of Alien, and the actor is Pierce Brosnan, the new James Bond. Edgar Bronfman Jr. nodded. Once you have a consensus, we can start planning. After all, Edgar Bronfman Jr. wasn't an expert in filmmaking. By the way, how's the deal going with Time Warner? Are they willing to sell MGM's film library? Edgar Bronfman Jr. had always dreamed of reviving MGM. Ronald Mayer shook his head helplessly. We've contacted Ted Turner and Warner Brothers co-chairman Bob Daly. They don't seem very interested in selling MGM's film library. Edgar Bronfman Jr. frowned. We can ask for a higher price. After selling his DuPont stock, Seagram had plenty of cash on hand, and Edgar Bronfman Jr. was bold about investing in MGM. Next year, I'll talk directly with Mr. Gerald Levine, Ronald Mayer explained. Well, what do you think of Carlock's Cutthroat Island? Cutthroat Island was distributed by MGM, and this month's Christmas season was set, but Carlock had officially gone bankrupt and was under bank receivership. Frank Marcuso pondered. This cutthroat island has been plagued by problems since filming began: crew discord, budget overruns, and so on. Plus, the test screenings were mediocre. Now that Carlock is bankrupt and lacks resources, there's little hope it'll be a hit. Furthermore, the summer release of Waterworld proved that ocean-based films aren't popular with audiences. Fortunately, Cutthroat Island's budget is only half that of Waterworld. Edgar Bronfman Jr. pondered and tapped the table. Carlock holds the rights to Terminator 3. Since Carlock is bankrupt, MGM can easily acquire its assets. Frank Marcuso smiled. It doesn't have to be that early. Carlock's price is quite high right now, and the creditors are holding firm. We just need to wait a while. Perhaps the price will come down. Of course, there's also the fact that James Cameron, director of the Terminator series, is currently developing the blockbuster Titanic for 20th Century Fox. He doesn't have time to work on Terminator 3. Chapter 383. It's too licking. December, Aaron returned to Los Angeles from Santa Marta. Universal's Martin Scorsese film, Casino, released last month, had grossed $29 million in North America in its 3 weeks. It opened with just $10 million, then plummeted 40% over the following weekends, receiving mixed reviews. Aaron was frustrated, having truly lost faith in Martin Scorsese. Even with stars like Robert De Niro and Sharon Stone, the film's commercial success was mediocre. Critics praised the actress, Sharon Stone, for her performance. Meanwhile, the low-budget comedy horror film Scream had already grossed $80 million in North America, poised to break $100 million soon. Clearly, when Scream's international box office is included, it will outperform Casino when it's released. Los Angeles, Malibu. At one of Aaron's vacation homes, Wang Xuexin sat on Aaron's couch. Congratulations, you've become the youngest chairman of a listed company. After filming Rush Hour this year, Wang Xuexin spent some time in Vancouver, Canada, before returning to Hong Kong. Recently, with the official release of Chinese Workers, she'd come to participate in several film festivals to promote it. Aaron smiled and stroked the woman's thigh. Is there anything you want? The other women had some Shuguang shares, but Wang Xuexin and Fujiwara Norka rarely visited the US, so he didn't give them anything. Wang Xuexin kissed Aaron on the cheek. I have everything. I don't need anything else, do I? My career is primarily in Hong Kong. Really? Aaron reached into the woman's arms and caressed her. Didn't you say you were interested in a French winery? I'll give you a winery, one with a castle. Yes, Wang Xuexin moaned, then pressed her lips against the man's, her lips brimming with passion. After the kiss, Aaron pressed the disheveled Wang Xuexin down on the sofa. By the way, how is that movie, Chinese Workers? It's alright, Wang Xuexin said, hugging the man tightly. It was released in Taipei before, and it had good box office and good reviews. Then we participated in some film festivals in Europe and the United States. It got quite a few good reviews, but its commercial performance was average, and the box office in Hong Kong wasn't very high. Chinese Workers is an art film. Forget about its American success. The main thing is whether it will have any influence in Europe. It doesn't matter. It's an art film anyway. Yeah, I heard a company in Europe has already bought the distribution rights, Wang Xuexin whispered. Crescent Films was only responsible for North American distribution. Obviously, a film like Chinese Workers would not be favored by Dun Global International Pictures. December was a busy month in Hollywood, with awards season releases coming one after another. The same was true for Dawn Sense and Sensibility and A Man Walking. However, thanks to the financing from its IPO, Sugan quickly secured several major contracts: a $350 million acquisition of a 50% stake in Universal Orlando Resort from British company Rank Films, a contract between Universal Studios Hotels and the Saudi Kingdom Fund for the construction of 2 Universal Studios-themed hotels, expansion plans for Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Orlando, and, most importantly, the Universal Studios Osaka, Japan project. In Burbank, Sugan's Universal headquarters, Aaron sat in his office, flipping through the script in his hands. Wow, this story is really good. It was the script for Air Force One, which portrayed the American president as a hero. Don Steele nodded. This is the script by new screenwriter Andrew Marlowe. Producer Jonathan Sestek liked it and recommended it to us at Universal. In every way, it meets your requirements, boss. Aaron had previously promised Clinton to develop a film about the president, portraying him as brave, kind, and fearless. Aaron smiled without saying anything. What a coincidence. Air Force One is the official aircraft of the President of the United States, a symbol of American power and a hallmark of the U.S. government. It's often referred to as the White House in the sky. In reality, Air Force One is also an air traffic control radio code. Only when the President of the United States enters the aircraft does it become known as Air Force One. The script for Air Force One transforms the powerful head of state into an action hero, going beyond the usual action-packed special effects and heavy casualties. It's truly an extraordinary action film. Furthermore, the producers have already discussed this with Phil Straub, the Pentagon's Hollywood liaison. If Universal develops this project, the Department of Defense and the military will fully support it, Don Steele said, spreading his hands. After all, this script is incredibly flattering to the President of the United States. It's a perfect script for the government and the military. Aaron knocked on the table. Since we have the support of the military, we can shoot the scene on a larger scale, but who should we choose to play the President? Don Steele shrugged. Screenwriter Andrew Marlowe and producer Jonathan Sestek are both optimistic about Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner? He is indeed suitable. Kevin Costner's image and fame are definitely suitable candidates. Although Waterworld failed, he is still a top action star in Hollywood. But isn't he preparing for Warner Brothers' apocalyptic science fiction film The Postman? Don Steele nodded. So, he didn't have time, so he recommended another actor, Harrison Ford, to the producer. Needless to say, Harrison Ford is basically the leading actor in mainstream American movies. Aaron's mouth twitched. Indeed, he seems more suitable than Kevin Costner. Alright, give this Air Force One the green light and start production as soon as possible. It'll be released next year. Aaron was determined to maintain his connections in Washington. Don Steele nodded. Later, Aaron called Lloyd Benson Jr. from his office, back home in Houston, to discuss joining Sugin's board of directors and heading up the Public Relations Committee. Aaron, I'll come to Los Angeles to meet with the rest of the board. Well, early next year, I'll hold a board meeting there. Actually, Lloyd Benson Jr. didn't have to stay in Los Angeles in the future. He could still handle Sugin's public relations from Houston. He'd just have to travel back and forth to Washington, D.C. Chapter 384, Overspending Problem. The Pentagon's Hollywood Liaison Office specializes in liaisons between the U.S. Department of Defense and Hollywood. For decades, Hollywood and the Department of Defense have enjoyed a symbiotic relationship. On the one hand, the Pentagon allows filmmakers to film at U.S. military bases, naval vessels, and other military locations, providing them with new weapons and personnel. On the other hand, the U.S. military benefits from positive portrayals of American personnel in films, boosting recruitment efforts and improving the image of the U.S. military. Pentagon involvement in the filmmaking process allows filmmakers to benefit from authentic locations and technical expertise. The script for Air Force One was highly favored by Phil Straub, director of the Pentagon's Hollywood Liaison Office, who offered every possible support. Besides military representatives, there are also representatives from other organizations, such as the CIA and FBI, all of which have close ties to Hollywood. The publicity power of film and television is truly remarkable. Sunset Tower Hotel in West Hollywood. Aaron attended the premiere of Sense and Sensibility, directed by Ang Lee and starring Emma Thompson, Hugh Grant, Kate Winslet, and others. The film has been acclaimed. Lee's previous films, such as The Wedding Banquet and Eat Drink Man Woman, have already been highly praised by critics, and his first English-language film, Sense and Sensibility, has garnered critical acclaim. Shugwang is naturally keen to strengthen their collaboration with him, as his productions are primarily produced by producer James Shamus. Therefore, Crescent Films has signed a distribution agreement with the Good Machine Productions, founded by James Shamus. By the way, how is James Cameron's new film, Titanic, progressing? Aaron asked Brad Gray. During the crew's preparation and casting stage, 20th Century Fox built a large filming base on the beach in Mexico. The replica of half of the Titanic has also been built, which took quite a while. Listening to Brad Gray's response, Aaron nodded, mainly because he saw Kate Winslet and thought of this movie directly. Moreover, the other male lead, Leonardo DiCaprio, also filmed a romantic film Romeo and Juliet for Dawn Crescent Pictures this year. James Cameron's filming style is very expensive. Aaron curled his lips. 20th Century Fox should seek cooperation, right? Brad Gray thought for a while. This is also possible. The main reason is that this year's sea-based movies Waterworld and Cutthroat Island have serious overspending problems. For someone like James Cameron, There is no filming without overspending. If the budget of Titanic is overspent too much, I guess 20th Century Fox will not be able to bear it. Aaron smiled. If 20th Century Fox seeks external cooperation at that time, we Universal can join. I have great confidence in James Cameron. Brad Gray nodded. Also, after Carlock went bankrupt, it seems that MGM also has the idea of acquiring Carlock. Not only that, MGM has issued a notice to Time Warner to take back the MGM film library. Aaron actually doesn't care much about Carlock. The copyright of Terminator is just a little interesting. Edgar Bronfman Jr. wants to reclaim MGM's film library. Brad Gray responded, yes, Turner Ted was in charge before, he definitely wouldn't sell. But with Gerald Levine now, it's hard to say. Seagram has plenty of cash flow. Time Warner's debt ratio is high, and Edgar Bronfman Jr.'s willingness to offer might impress Gerald Levine. Aaron shrugged, it doesn't matter. MGM is just a shell company now, its main asset being United Artists. Besides, MGM is rebuilding its international distribution network, so it's understandable they want to reclaim the copyrights. Just look at Edgar Bronfman Jr.'s investment in MGM's new projects, it's substantial. Aaron, in all of Hollywood right now, Time Warner has the largest copyright library, followed by Universal. Should we also make an offer? Sue Guan currently owns the copyright libraries of Universal, Orion, and Samuel Goldwyn. Add to that the works Sue Guan has developed in-house over the years, and you have quite a few. Sure, let's give it a try. We have enough cash flow anyway, getting access to MGM's film library would be a great deal. That evening, back in Malibu, Aaron lay in bed with Wang Xuexin in his arms. Next year, I expect to be traveling back and forth between the US and Japan more often. Is it for the Universal Studios Osaka project? Wang Xuexin asked, kissing Aaron. Yes, it's Akebano's biggest project in years. The first phase of the investment is 150 billion yen, which is over $1.5 billion. Although Sumitomo Realty and the Osaka city government are participating, Akebano will have to put up at least half the capital. Wang Xuexin thought for a moment and asked, have you ever considered opening Universal Studios in China? China. Aaron smiled, rubbing his hand against the girl's body. It's difficult. Chinese people can't afford it these days. The Chinese government had also invited Disney to explore building a theme park in Shanghai, but Disney quickly declined. It's simple. The economy doesn't support it. After all, China's current GDP is only $700 billion, and its per capita GDP is only $600. Even the richest city, Shanghai, has a per capita GDP of just over $2,000. How can it afford such consumption? I see. Don't think about it. It will come in the future. Whether it's Disneyland or Universal Studios, China's economy will not miss out on this market in the future. However, right now, Japan is definitely far more important than China. Wang Xuexin nodded. That's great. When you go to Japan, you can also come to Hong Kong to find me. Aaron then rolled over, pressed on the girl, and kissed her. Well, are you going back to Hong Kong next? Yes, Chinese workers participated in several film festivals. I should go back. In Hong Kong, I also have a work being released and a new movie to shoot. Although Hong Kong films have begun to decline, big stars like Wang Xuexin still receive many scripts. What's more, there is the relationship with Golden Harvest. Well, I'll come find you then, Aaron said, and kissed the girl's red lips. Wang Xuexin put her arms around the man's neck and responded enthusiastically. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 385 Failed Works. Is his way of retaining those animators by giving them a raise. Michael Eisner and Roy Disney sat on the couch in Michael Eisner's office at Disney headquarters in Burbank. Due to DreamWorks SKG's poaching, Disney had assigned the task of retaining its animators to its new president, Michael Ovitz. Michael Ovitz simply gave all Disney animators a raise. Roy Disney nodded. Actually, that's the quickest way. As chairman of Disney Animation and the only remaining member of the Disney family, Roy Disney had no better plan. DreamWorks SKG, Pixar, and other upcoming competitors were formidable. Disney's struggle to maintain its dominance in animation was becoming even more difficult. Whatever, Michael Eisner acquiesced. He's a Disney veteran, After all, what do you think of 3D computer animation? Roy Disney's eyes widened. Animation must be hand-drawn. Computer animation has no soul at all. Pixar's 3D computer animation is like paganism, blasphemy against animators. Michael Eisner didn't know much about animation production, but Disney's achievements in animated feature films over the years were undeniable. Pixar's Toy Story was indeed good, but it certainly couldn't be said to be a knockoff of Disney animation. Universal Studios. Don has already started promoting Toy Story at Universal Studios. Don has invested heavily in Universal Studios, and Pixar is a key supporter. Movie theme park resorts primarily attract families, with children being a top priority. If Universal Studios Resort develops well, it will undoubtedly divert traffic from Disneyland. Michael Eisner wasn't worried about a few movies, but the various IP characters released by the movies couldn't be ignored. Roy Disney frowned. Asuko just went public and has a ton of cash. Expansions at Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Orlando are a given. They're even planning to build a new Universal Studios Osaka resort in Japan, specifically to compete with Tokyo Disneyland. Aaron Anderson's hand is truly impressive. Michael Eisner has always prioritized the development of Disneyland. Disneyland Anaheim and Disneyland Orlando are both crucial sources of revenue for Disney. Compared to other theme parks, only Universal Studios Hollywood can compare. Before, neither MCA nor Panasonic paid enough attention to Universal Studios. Asuko is different now. Aaron Anderson has a keen eye for developing the consumer market. Sukaku is not only capable of developing a variety of popular film and television IPs, but is also willing to invest heavily. The competition between Disneyland and Universal Studios in California and Florida will only intensify. The attractions in the theme parks still need to be supported by film and television IPs. For large entertainment conglomerates, the locomotive effect of movies is significant. Let's go. The ABC executives are waiting for us in the office, Michael Eisner said, rising from the sofa and heading to the conference room with Roy Disney. Meanwhile, Marvel, the renowned American comic book company, was facing difficulties and a severe debt crisis. Marvel's owner, Ronald Perlman, began raising funds, but with his debts saddled with little support. Therefore, Ronald Perlman, while trying every possible way to attract capital, began selling Marvel's comic book assets. Upon learning that Ron was planning to build a new theme park, Islands of Adventure, at Universal Studios Orlando, he sent Marvel president Avi Arad to negotiate with Universal, hoping that Universal Studios would consider building a world of adventure within Islands of Adventure. At night, in a club on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood, Aaron sat on the sofa with Jennifer Connelly, drinking a glass of wine. Because of Dawn's IPO, Jennifer Connelly and Nicole Kidman each received 1 million shares of Dawn stock. Suddenly, they became multimillionaires, and naturally, they were thrilled. Jennifer Connelly put her arms around the man's neck and kissed him affectionately. The movie A Man Walking, produced by Polygram, seems to have a good reputation. In the eyes of film critics, it is not inferior to Sense and Sensibility. It will probably do well in the upcoming Oscars. A Man Walking is a drama film directed by Tim Robbins and starring Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn. It has a strong cast and a tense plot, and it has already been released on a small scale. Aaron smiled. A Man Walking is still not as good as Sense and Sensibility. After all, it is adapted from Jane Austen's novel, and director Ang Lee's technique is delicate. Comparatively speaking, Tim Robbins' shooting technique is much rougher. Jennifer Connelly rubbed Aaron's face. I auditioned for James Cameron's new film Titanic, but the audition result was not ideal. Audition for Titanic. Aaron touched the girl's 34D, feeling the other softness. James Cameron has his own way of choosing actors. As for other people, he really can't decide. Universal is waiting for 20th Century Fox, the producer of Titanic, to seek cooperation. Jennifer Connelly smiled. Anyway, I didn't hold out much hope. After all, movies about the sea are incredibly risky these days. You know, Aaron, Cutthroat Island has already been released, and it's been a complete flop. Aaron nodded. Of course I know. MGM opened in 1,650 theaters, and it only grossed $2.4 million over its first 3 days. As for the critical acclaim, it was slammed to bits by critics and journalists. The good news is that Carlock won't be there. After all, Carlock had gone bankrupt 2 months prior. Cutthroat Island was massively over budget, costing a total of $98 million, and now this is the outcome? With the original lead, Michael Douglas, withdrawing, lead actress Gina Davis also wanted to cancel the project. Unfortunately, Carlock went his own way and found Gina Davis' boyfriend, Rennie Harlan, to direct. That same year, Hollywood experienced a flop of two major maritime films, Waterworld and Cutthroat Island. This, in a single stroke, completely shattered Hollywood's confidence in the maritime genre. By then, when the pirate ship project of Universal Studios is completed, we can start preparing. Chapter 386, Amazing Company. Universal City, Hollywood. Tom Williams, after briefing Aaron on Ronald Perelman's idea for a Marvel World theme park within Universal Orlando, expressed genuine interest. Marvel Entertainment wants to license their IP for Universal Studios to use in Orlando's new theme park, right? Tom Williams nodded. Marvel Entertainment stock price has plummeted, and they're heavily in debt. They're just looking for cash flow. The Marvel Entertainment Group, a company Ronald Perelman took public in 1991, originally had multiple revenue streams, including comics, toys, and licensing, TV, games. However, Ronald Perelman, a Wall Street insider, naturally had no desire to properly manage Marvel Entertainment. After the stock price soared, he overextended himself, making several ill-timed acquisitions, including a $265 million purchase of a trading card company, a $7 million acquisition of a 46% stake in the toy manufacturer Toy Biz, and then a sticker company. Aaron flipped through the documents in his hand and couldn't help but exclaim, Marvel's share of the comic book market has dropped to 30% now. Remember, in the mid-1980s, Marvel's share of the comic book market was 70%. Marvel's creative director, Stan Lee, has repeatedly urged us to develop a live-action Spider-Man movie. Aaron smiled. Spider-Man's copyright expires next year. If nothing unexpected happens, Marvel will definitely sell it again. It seemed that the time had come to acquire Marvel Entertainment. Let me meet with Ronald Perelman first. Aaron then submitted his proposal to acquire Marvel Entertainment directly to the board of directors. Although there was some opposition, after all, Marvel didn't recognize any other characters except Spider-Man's IP. Besides, if Universal wanted to film a movie, they could just work directly with Marvel. Why spend money to acquire Marvel? However, as the chairman and CEO of Dawn Group, Aaron had no trouble convincing the other directors. Soon, Dawn began buying up shares of Amazing at a low price. Aaron also traveled to New York and met with Amazing's chairman, Ronald Perelman. He was indeed interested in selling Amazing, but the price was beyond Aaron's expectations. Before Christmas, Aaron met Carl Icahn, Wall Street's hostile takeover expert, at Rockefeller Center in Manhattan. Partnership in acquiring Amazing. Aaron wasn't too surprised to hear the other party's intention in the cafe. Carl Icahn had always been interested in acquiring heavily indebted, struggling public companies, seeking to acquire controlling stakes at low prices and then profit from them through various spin-offs and restructurings. Mr. Icahn, it won't be difficult for Suzuki to acquire a small company like Marvel, especially now that Ronald Perelman is deeply in debt. Carl Icahn smiled. This gives Ronald Perelman an opportunity to bid. I own 30% of Marvel's bonds, based on Marvel's current performance. If Ronald fails to raise funds, Marvel Entertainment will inevitably declare bankruptcy. Then, taking advantage of Marvel's bankruptcy, I'll join forces with creditors to pressure Suzuki to acquire Marvel, minimizing the cost. Aaron shook his head. It's going to take too long, and there are so many variables. Ronald Perelman will definitely sell Marvel's assets during this time. Aaron didn't care if it was a sticker company, a credit card company, or a toy company. He was mainly worried that Ronald Perelman would sell Marvel comic characters, which were what Aaron valued. Besides, Aaron didn't trust a Wall Street wolf like Carl Icahn. Jews, in such a situation, had no credibility at all. Carl Icahn sighed. That's a shame. Carl Icahn had no ambition to compete with Su Guang for Amazing. That evening, Aaron met with Leon Cooperman again and brought up Carl Icahn. He's a big name on Wall Street, like Ronald Perelman, both acquisition experts, making money in the financial markets. Amazing has earned Ronald Perelman at least $300 million in profits over the past few years. Now that Amazing is heavily in debt, Ronald Perelman won't want to go bankrupt. He's definitely trying to squeeze every last ounce of Amazing's profits. Aaron nodded. He understood that, but it would be best to acquire Amazing before Ronald Perelman sold off his assets. A higher price didn't matter. Amazing was a treasure trove. An investment now would yield returns dozens of times over in the future. What about Carl Icahn? Should I be concerned? Aaron inquired. Leon Cooperman smiled. Don't worry too much about him. His usual method is to acquire shares in companies nearing bankruptcy and try to get on the board. Then he'll try to gain management control. Through spin-offs and restructuring, he'll drive up the stock price so he can cash out and leave. Surprise is different. Major shareholder Ronald Perlman holds over 50% of the voting rights. If we can't deal with him, we can't get management control. Besides, with Su Guang's current size, Carl Icahn doesn't have the financial resources to try and rip him off. As for Su Guang losing some money during the acquisition, Aaron certainly didn't care. Surprise's current price was really low. Leon Cooperman of Omega and Charles Johnson of Franklin Templeton Funds were both Aaron's investment advisors. Carl Icahn was known as the Wolf of Wall Street, but Aaron wasn't too worried. If he dared to target Su Guang's stock, Aaron would be thanking him. That evening, at a bar in Midtown Manhattan, Aaron and Christiana Yeri drank beer. The O.J. Simpson case was playing on TV. I can't believe that O.J. Simpson was acquitted, Christiana Yeri shook her head. Aaron just glanced at it and said, laws are made by the upper class to govern the lower class. For ordinary people, they are shackles, but for powerful people, laws are weapons and helpers. The criminal case of O.J. Simpson was over, and the next step was just a civil lawsuit, and all he had to do was pay compensation. Christiana Yeri suddenly asked, did this guy kill anyone? Aaron nodded and said, the judge knows, the police know, the lawyers know, and basically all Americans know that he killed someone. It's just that the police violated regulations in the process of handling the case. This is a problem with the judicial system. A group of smart people found that loophole. Christiana Yeri pursed her lips and leaned into the man's arms. Let's go back. Chapter 387. Foreign actors are useful. New York City was unusually cold in winter, and the streets, after a snowy day, were still covered in unmelted white snow. In Central Park, Aaron and Jack Wells stood by the lake, admiring the surrounding snowy scenery. There's a large swamp and mudflat near Universal Orlando. As long as we get the environmental protection stuff done, we can build. Jack Wells had just returned from Florida and had contacted Aaron. Aaron smiled. Just get the development permit. As for the environmental groups, don't worry about them, they won't do anything. Jack Wells nodded. But competing with Orlando Disneyland will be very stressful. Orlando Disneyland boasts 4 large theme parks, nearly 30 resort hotels, over 700 tent sites, and 5 18-hole golf courses. Okay, let's take our time. Disneyland has a lot of history and a wealth of IP. There's still a big gap between Universal Studios and Disneyland. Orlando Disneyland is the world's largest theme park, the most visited, and the most profitable. By the way, since the Houston Dawn Center opened, housing prices in the area have skyrocketed, and the real estate company we invested in has made a lot of money. After Aaron purchased the Houston Rockets, he had Jack Wells form a partnership with local real estate developers and the Houston Rockets to establish a real estate company. Leveraging the influence of the sports club, they hope to drive up local housing prices. Jack Wells not only owns 4 million shares in Dawn, but also shares in Angel International, IMG Sports Agency, and real estate companies. Now, Jack Wells is a multimillionaire with assets worth tens of millions. Aaron sighed. Actually, in the United States, you have to look no further than the NFL. Football's influence is unparalleled. It's just that NFL clubs are family-owned and rarely sold. The NFL also expanded this year, adding 2 teams, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers. Last year, one team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was sold. The owner had left, and his descendants no longer wanted to run the team, so the Glazer family bought it. Jack Wells spread his hands and said, there is no football team in the Los Angeles area now. Let's try when the NFL expands next time. What is Los Angeles? It's the second largest city in the United States and an international metropolis, second only to New York. It has a developed economy and a huge market. The NFL league is reluctant to give it up. In the entire Southern California area, only the San Diego Chargers are left. The Los Angeles Rams and Los Angeles Raiders have moved away. Aaron shook his head. It's mainly because there's no suitable stadium in Los Angeles. Memorial Coliseum has historical significance, so it's impossible to renovate it. Otherwise, the Raiders would have done it long ago. As for Angel Stadium, it's more suitable for baseball, and it seems a bit far from Los Angeles. The Rose Bowl in Pasadena meets the requirements, but it's a historical landmark and hosts so many events that it can only be a temporary stadium. If Los Angeles can't build a new football stadium that meets the requirements, it's hard for the NFL to approve an additional one. Like New York, Los Angeles faces a land shortage, making building a large outdoor stadium extremely difficult. Of course, the main problem is the high cost, as football stadiums are nothing compared to NBA indoor arenas. Jack Wells smiled. Then wait and see if anyone sells the team. With Christmas approaching, many new Hollywood films are released, and Los Angeles is becoming increasingly lively. Don is looking to acquire Marvel, and Aaron, who had been staying in New York, flew to Australia for vacation at Nicole Kidman's invitation. After all, it's summer in the Southern Hemisphere. Intercontinental Sydney. Nicole Kidman lay in Aaron's arms. It's not bad here, right? Now many Hollywood studios are shooting movies in Australia. The terrain here is rich and diverse, from mountains to plains, from deserts to rainforests. It can be said that we have everything. Aaron smiled. Then what? Has Shugwang ever thought about running a studio in Australia? In Los Angeles, Shugwang owns Universal Studios Hollywood and Shugwang Studios Burbank, which have dozens of studios in total. Of course, the labor here in Australia is cheaper, and there are tax rebates and subsidies. By then, Shugwang Universal will definitely have a lot of movies shooting here. Aaron will not ignore Australia. Now many Australian filmmakers have become well known in Hollywood. The Australian branch of Shugwang Global International Pictures is also responsible for distributing works in countries and regions such as Australia and New Zealand. Crescent Pictures' Romeo plus Juliet has wrapped filming. I've seen the previews. Baz Luhrmann wrote and directed this romantic film, and it's pretty good. Nicole Kidman is now Australia's most famous actress, and a Hollywood icon. She's a representative of Australia, and the Australian media calls her Australia's finest export. Aaron hadn't seen the previews of Romeo plus Juliet, but he knew it was starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Australian films aren't very well known or influential, he said. But there's still a lot of talent, Aaron had to admit, given Australia's close ties with the UK and its distance from North America. Australian actors definitely have to work hard to succeed. Well, some Australian actors are really good. Australian actor Russell Crowe has several Hollywood films released this year. Actually, Mel Gibson grew up in Australia and began his career there, Nicole Kidman said, leaning forward to kiss the man on the cheek. Aaron nodded. Mel Gibson, he certainly is. Although he was born in the United States, he's from Australia after all, and now, he's become a top action star in Hollywood. Well, Mel Gibson and Nicole Kidman are now considered the representative actors and actresses of Australia. In fact, Nicole Kidman was also born in Hawaii. Now that he has the opportunity, Aaron is also planning to study Australian actors and bring them to the United States. After all, compared to American actors, British and Australian actors are much more practical and cheaper. Nicole Kidman changed the subject. Tomorrow is Christmas, let's go to see. Aaron nodded. Chapter 388 The Young Demon King. After a wonderful Christmas holiday with Nicole Kidman, who returned home to visit her parents, Aaron, preparing to return home, met in Sydney with Lachlan Murdoch, the vice president of News Corporation and Rupert Murdoch's eldest son. Lachlan Murdoch, just a year younger than Aaron, currently manages the Queensland newspaper group, which includes The Australian. After lunch at a hotel near the Sydney Opera House, Aaron and Lachlan Murdoch were surrounded by reporters. Aaron evaded the reporters' questions, saying, "I'm just here for vacation, it's summer in Australia." As for our collaboration with the News Corporation, Don has always had that. Although Universal and 20th Century Fox are competitors in Hollywood, Don Group and News Corporation also have a lot of collaboration. Compared to Aaron Anderson's questions, Lachlan Murdoch's were far more challenging. Mr. Murdoch, may I ask why you were appointed president of News Corp's Australian newspaper printing business, given that this title is uncommon in Australia? Lachlan Murdoch was young, a recent graduate, about the same age as the reporters. Queensland Newspapers was News Corp's flagship Australian newspaper company. It was no surprise that a recent graduate was in charge. Lachlan Murdoch responded, "I simply manage and fulfill the tasks assigned to me by the board." Then may I ask, what practical aspects do you actually accomplish? As a business owner, how do you connect philosophy with practice? Lachlan Murdoch had already taken over Queensland newspapers with limited results and experience. Faced with these questions, he could only casually address them and then hurriedly depart. In the car, Aaron smiled and said, "That's how journalists are. You'll get used to it." Lachlan Murdoch sighed. What I know is mainly because I took over the business directly, and there aren't any results. There's definitely a difference between a wealthy second generation like Lachlan Murdoch and someone like Aaron Anderson, who built their careers from scratch. They've had everything from childhood, the best of everything, and they don't understand what hard work means. Aaron, you're amazing. Sugan's IPO was a global sensation. In just a few years, Aaron Anderson had built a global entertainment conglomerate with a market capitalization of nearly $20 billion. How could Lachlan Murdoch not be envious? As a child, he attended elite schools like Dalton School and Trinity College, Cambridge, and later went on to Princeton University. Aaron Anderson, by contrast, had only graduated from high school and had never attended university. The difference was enormous. Currently, 70% of News Corporation's revenue comes from the United States, with the remainder coming from Europe, Oceania, and Asia. Although Australia is News Corporation's headquarters and registered place, Mr. Murdoch will definitely move News Corporation to the United States. Perhaps you should return to the United States as soon as possible to participate in the management of News Corporation. Aaron knew that Lachlan Murdoch and his father, Rupert Murdoch, had a bad relationship, but what good would it do to stay in Australia? How could he cause trouble for Rupert Murdoch if he didn't go to the United States? I've been in the United States for a few years, so I'm definitely going there, Lachlan Murdoch said seriously. Aaron nodded. That evening, Aaron went to the Sydney Opera House to watch the play Hamlet. The Sydney Opera House's this year's production of Hamlet was a hit, especially the actress who played Ophelia. At the celebration banquet after the performance, Aaron approached a blonde, blue-eyed, tall, beautiful, and elegant actress. Good evening, your performance was excellent, thank you, Aaron nodded. Aaron Anderson, American, he shook his hand. Good evening, I'm Cate Blanchett, your performance seems very solid. You must have acted in film and television before, right? Aaron inquired. After all, Cate Blanchett was already 27 years old. Yes, in addition to theater, I've also acted in several TV series. There's a movie called Bordertown that was released this year. Cate Blanchett had no secrets about being able to attend the theater banquet. She wasn't very familiar with Aaron Anderson, but she was delighted to have a young, handsome man compliment her performance. Cate Blanchett had only appeared in Australian film and television, which Aaron had no idea. But Aaron knew this person, and smiled as he took 2 glasses of wine from the waiter. Have a drink, Cate Blanchett nodded, clinked glasses with Aaron, and took a sip. By the way, Mr. Anderson, are you coming to Australia for work or tourism? Aaron smiled. Both. Just call me Aaron, and I'll call you Cate too, okay, Aaron? Cate Blanchett also smiled. There are many attractions in Australia, you have to spend a little more time to play enough. Aaron shook his head. That's not a problem, we just lack a tour guide. Really? Of course. Aaron drank the wine in the glass. New Year's Eve is in a few days. New Year's Eve in Sydney should be very lively, right? Yes, it's very lively. With fireworks shows and various New Year's Eve performances. Oh, really? Cate Blanchett nodded. Although I'm from Melbourne, I studied at the Australian National School of Dramatic Art in Sydney. After graduating 3 years ago, I've been working in the Sydney Theatre. As the party ended, Aaron and Cate Blanchett enjoyed a lively conversation before sending each other home. Cate, let's have dinner together tomorrow. I'll pick you up then, Aaron suggested, as they sat in the back seat of the car. Yeah, sure, Blanchett agreed. Aaron, my place is just up the road, see you tomorrow, Cate. Aaron leaned forward and kissed the woman on the lips. Blanchett responded briefly, then smiled and opened the car door. See you tomorrow, Aaron waved and immediately had the driver drive back to the hotel. Cate Blanchett wasn't the Aura Queen she'd become. She hadn't yet evolved into the Demon King she'd become. At least, her beauty was still a bit immature. She wasn't as tough as she would be in the future. Chapter 389 Tricking Me into Going to America. At night, Aaron and Cate Blanchett exited a car outside an upscale bar near Sydney's Darling Harbour. Is that the Star City being built over there? Aaron inquired. Cate Blanchett nodded. Yes, it'll be Australia's second largest casino when it's completed, second only to Melbourne's Entertainment City. The Star City, built in the foundations of the Harbour Casino, will be a comprehensive entertainment complex integrating a casino, theatre, amusement park, restaurants, bars, shopping malls, and hotels. Australians really love gambling, Aaron smiled, then put his arm around Cate Blanchett and entered the bar. After all, it seemed like every Australian city had a casino. In the dimly lit bar hall, colorful lights shone, and young men and women swayed to the rhythm of the music, seemingly like crazy. Aaron swayed gently on the dance floor, leaning against Cate Blanchett. By the way, how did you decide to get into the entertainment industry? How did you get into the entertainment industry? Cate Blanchett smiled and explained, I originally studied fine arts and economics at the University of Melbourne. I never thought I would become an actor. But after 1 year, I got tired of the boring university life, so I chose to take a leave of absence and travel abroad. Interesting, Aaron smiled, and then he kissed the girl and caressed her body. Yes, Cate Blanchett responded with a passionate kiss from Aaron. I remember traveling to Cairo, Egypt, and meeting a Scottish director who was looking for foreign extras for an Egyptian boxing film called Kaboria. They needed some cheerleaders to sing and dance in the ring. I was short on money, so I applied and became the blonde cheerleader. Perhaps that's when I felt like I had a love for acting. After returning home, I applied to the Australian National School of Dramatic Art. Cate Blanchett has been performing at the Sydney Theatre Company since graduating in 1992. From winning the Sydney Theatre Critics Board of Directors Newcomer Award to the Rosemount Award for Best Actress, a series of stage accolades opened the door to Australian film and television. So that's how it is, Aaron realized. It seems Cate Blanchett really doesn't have many resources or connections in the entertainment industry. She works at a theatre company and then plays minor roles in Australian TV series. You said you had a movie released this year, didn't you? Yes, it's coming out in October. It's an Australian romance called Koreatown, and it's my first starring role. Soon, the two of them sat down in the bar's booth. New Year's is coming, so there are a lot of people. Cate Blanchett and Aaron clinked their glasses. Aaron nodded. Besides, it's winter in the Northern Hemisphere, so a lot of people are coming to Australia for vacation. How about you? How long do you plan to stay in Australia? Cate Blanchett took a sip of wine, tilted her head, and asked with a smile. Aaron reached out and touched the girl's thigh. How long do you want me to stay? Cate Blanchett shook her head. I don't know. After all, you are the famous Dawn Group boss Aaron Anderson. Previously, after the two met at the theater's celebration party, Cate Blanchett went home and looked up the other party's information. Aaron Anderson, 26 years old, the youngest Hollywood tycoon, the golden boy of the movie, actually came to Australia? Aaron smiled and pulled Cate Blanchett to sit in his arms. Why? Does it have anything to do with my identity? While caressing the girl's body, he leaned close to her ear and said, have you never thought about developing in Hollywood? What prospects does the Australian stage play market have? Cate Blanchett is still renting a house in Sydney. Well, Cate Blanchett rubbed Aaron's face. You know, I used to wear a suit and tie, dress like a boy, and even tried to shave my head, as brave as a boy. Aaron kissed the girl on the face and reached directly into the other's underwear. These have nothing to do with going to Hollywood, right? Cate Blanchett put her arm around Aaron's neck and smiled. You want to trick me into going to the United States? Aaron shook his head. Wait for me to go to the bathroom first, and then go back. Yeah, in the bathroom. Aaron had just washed his face on the sink, and suddenly a hand reached out, trying to take away the Patek Philippe watch placed aside. Pa, this is mine. Aaron slapped the outstretched arm and picked up the watch. Standing next to him was a young, bald, white man with a fierce look on his face. He stared at Aaron. I just put this there. Aaron smiled, took the watch and looked at it, then looked at the other man and shook his head. Boy, do you know how much this watch costs? Get out of here now, or you'll regret messing with me. The bald man glared at Aaron fiercely, his hands on his hips. I'm a skinhead. Give me back my watch, or else. Bang. Aaron kicked him and cursed. Fuck, skinhead. Fuck, you're dead. The bald man screamed, got up from the ground, raised his fist and rushed over. Aaron stared at the bald man with an unhappy look on his face, put the watch on his finger, and punched him. Aaron's force was so strong that the bald man immediately turned red, and blood flowed down his shiny bald head. Skinheads, don't you know I hate bald heads the most? Aaron knocked the man down with a few punches, then kicked the bald head on the ground a few more times. The bald head covered his head with his hands, his body curled up, a habitual movement. Blood flowed from his head through his fingers, and he groaned and gasped. Tell me, whose watch is it? Aaron squatted down, grabbed the bald head's ear, and pulled hard, but without hair, it was difficult to grab. I'm sorry, I was wrong. The watch is yours, the bald head said, his head raised along with his ear in pain. You bastards, how dare you bully us Jews? I'm going to raise prices so you poor bastards can't buy anything. Aaron stood up and kicked the bald head again, sending him rolling over. He walked to the sink and washed his hands in the bloody wash again. Skinheads? Aaron shook his head. He was angry at the sight of bald heads. Let's go back, Aaron said, pulling Cate Blanchett away from the ballroom. Chapter 392 Faces. After Aaron brought Cate Blanchett back to the suite at the Intercontinental Sydney Hotel, the two hugged each other and kissed passionately. From the living room to the bedroom, the two kissed and took off their clothes. Honey, you have a nice figure, you really know how to please women. Aaron smiled and looked at Cate Blanchett under him. If you have plans, then develop in Hollywood, you can first gain experience and hone your acting skills in art films. You know, I control the entire Dawn Group. Cate Blanchett rubbed Aaron's blonde hair a few times. Yes, Dawn owns Universal, one of the 7 major film groups in Hollywood. Hollywood actress, who can refuse your advances, as she said. Cate Blanchett put her arms around Aaron's neck and gave him a kiss. Let me think about it for a few days. You are here anyway. Now, we have more important things to do. You're right, soon. Cate Blanchett's screams were heard in the bedroom. Although Aaron Anderson and Cate Blanchett had not known each other for long, Cate Blanchett, who released her nature at night, made Aaron linger. At the turn of the new year, while Aaron was enjoying his vacation in Australia, back in the US, Suzuki's acquisition of Marvel Entertainment continued unabated. Suzuki offered Ronald Perlman $380 million to acquire Marvel Entertainment and assume $200 million of Marvel Entertainment's debt. Deeply in debt, Ronald Perlman had already laid off 300 employees at Marvel Entertainment, while Marvel Entertainment had only 1,700 employees. Perlman was genuinely tempted by Suzuki's offer, but he faced strong opposition from Marvel Entertainment's CEO Avi Arad. Avi Arad had established Marvel Pictures within Marvel Entertainment with the goal of developing his own films, but struggled with limited resources. Now, Ronald Perlman wanted to sell Marvel Entertainment, a move Avi Arad found unacceptable. At the Marvel Board of Directors, Avi Arad and Ronald Perlman had an argument. Avi Arad hoped to convince the other board members, the United States is one of the most creative countries in the world, and we should feel honored to live here. Hollywood has always been the world's film temple. But in today's Hollywood, if you look around, you will find that there are very few superhero characters that have been made into movies and survived. Although we in Hollywood have produced the Star Wars series, the Star Trek series, as well as the Superman and Batman series, there are no others, but I have always believed that the character of Spider-Man is worth $1 billion. It is our Marvel Comics ace IP, but Dawn has not developed it, and at this critical juncture, Dawn wants to buy Marvel as a whole. Marvel has so many comic characters, Dawn hasn't even developed Spider-Man. Will they develop other characters? Avi Arad's meaning was very clear. If Dawn was interested in Marvel, all of Marvel's characters would be open to them, but Marvel Pictures wanted to participate in the production of superhero movies. In response to Avi Arad's attack, an enraged Ronald Perlman exercised his majority shareholder power and fired Avi Arad. After the new year, Aaron emerged from the sea at Sydney's Manly Beach, holding Cate Blanchett, who was wearing a sexy bikini. Honey, I'm going home, Aaron said, hugging Cate Blanchett as they returned to a nearby beach hut. Su Guang's acquisition of Marvel Entertainment encountered no major obstacles, as long as the price satisfied Ronald Perlman. After all, Marvel Entertainment currently held little appeal. Even the film studios didn't consider producing Marvel Comics films a good option. Warner Bros.'s Batman Forever, released last year, was disappointing. While they were still developing a fourth film, Batman and Robin, the actor playing Batman would have to be replaced again. Oh, going home, Cate Blanchett remained calm. After all, she had understood from the few days she and Aaron had been together. Aaron wouldn't stay for long, his career focus was firmly in the United States. It's time to go home, Aaron kissed the girl on the ear. These past few days have been unforgettable. These past few days, the two of them had been inseparable, touring various tourist attractions during the day and enjoying life together in the hotel at night. Wait, I'll call you when I get back to the States, I'll help you find a few roles then. Cate Blanchett smiled, leaned over to Aaron's ear and blew a breath, then reached out and stroked little Aaron. Have all my efforts these past few days paid off? What do you think? You've been so excited these past few days, during the day and at night. You're completely two different people, Cate Blanchett's image during the day is elegant and proud, while at night it's wild and passionate. So, do you prefer me during the day or at night? Of course I like both, Aaron said, resting on the woman's back. After all, men like their women to have two faces, Cate Blanchett nodded. I've had a wonderful time these past few days. When I go to Hollywood, I just hope you'll remember me. I will. In 1996, Dawn's first acquisition was Marvel Entertainment. Although most Hollywood insiders were skeptical of Dawn's acquisition of Marvel, Aaron knew the $380 million was truly worth it. After acquiring Marvel, Aaron set about delisting Marvel, spinning off Marvel Entertainment and selling off its credit card, sticker, and other businesses. Dawn's headquarters in Burbank. What about Toy Biz? Brad Gray asked. Marvel Entertainment owned 46% of Toy Biz, which in turn licensed Marvel character toys. Aaron thought for a moment and said, let's keep it for now. If Ike Perlmutter can't improve the business, we'll consider selling it. Toy Biz is just a small American toy company, and Ike Perlmutter is the president of Toy Biz. Aaron didn't really care. After all, Dawn is now working with Mattel and Toys R Us. Brad Gray nodded. By the way, 20th Century Fox wants to film X-Men. They hope to buy the production rights to the X-Men series. Aaron shook his head. Impossible. All future Marvel Comics adaptations will be handled by Marvel Pictures. Outside companies can co-produce, but the distribution rights must belong to Dawn Universal. Chapter 391 Reclaiming Copyright. Marvel Entertainment might seem insignificant to others, but to Aaron, it was an untapped treasure trove. Everyone knew that among superheroes, DC's Superman and Batman were the most recognizable. Marvel Comics, specifically Spider-Man, could be talked about, but the other characters had little influence. After Brad Gray left, Dawn Steele came to Aaron's office to inquire about Marvel's film plans. Should we invite Avi Arad back? Avi Arad had previously been the head of Marvel Entertainment, obsessed with developing Marvel films and even championing the establishment of Marvel Pictures. Aaron shook his head. No need. Comics and movies are fundamentally different. Marvel's previous low-budget productions were nothing. Besides, the Spider-Man script they submitted was terrible. Marvel's current influence was too small to compare with DC. To build its reputation, it needed to develop quality films. Currently, Marvel was begging studios for permission to develop its own films. Spider-Man and X-Men are the most well-known in Marvel. This is a key project. We must take it seriously, Aaron said, knocking on the table. See if there are other characters that can be filmed. Can we test the waters first? Dawn Steele nodded. Marvel has a lot of characters, and in the current market, action movies have a larger audience. We should consider this aspect. By the way, Aaron remembered something. Marvel will take back the copyrights of all the characters it has sold the filming rights to after the expiration of the rights. Just like the filming rights of Fantastic Four, make a piece of garbage to get by, and go talk to Constantine Films, if they are willing to return the copyright. The Fantastic Four project can be jointly developed, and the German distribution rights can be given to them. Previously, the copyright of Fantastic Four expired, and Constantine's producer filmed a very low-cost version of Fantastic Four, or Marvel Studios spent its own money to buy up the film reels of the movie and prevented it from leaking. I understand, superhero movies currently have a mediocre market. Special effects development takes time, after all. Furthermore, audiences need to be cultivated. Marvel's trump card is Spider-Man, so they must be treated with caution. But Marvel's core business is comics and toys, so they need to expand their channels, and movies are undoubtedly the best way to do that. That evening, at a party at the Chateau Marmont in West Hollywood, Aaron ran into Philip Anschutz. So, what did you learn from meeting Jerry Buss? Previously, Philip Anschutz had mentioned his desire to build a multi-purpose indoor arena in Los Angeles and take advantage of the opportunity to acquire a stake in the Lakers. Philip Anschutz nodded. Mr. Buss is very interested and is willing to sell part of the Lakers' equity in exchange for the construction of a new stadium. Aaron smiled. Interesting. It seems that the Lakers' revival is not far away. I heard that Johnson is about to make a comeback. Are the Lakers serious? Philip Anschutz shrugged. I did hear Jerry Buss mention it, and Johnson's HIV virus seems to be under effective control. The attending physician also confirmed that he can return to the court. Aaron thought about it. Irvin Johnson is 37 years old this year. He was diagnosed with AIDS at the end of 1991 and then retired. It has been several years since then. And Irvin Johnson has gained weight after retirement. Now he is back, and the Lakers probably want to take advantage of the traffic. After all, the benefits brought to the Chicago Bulls by Michael Jordan's comeback last year made many people jealous. As one of the most famous top stars in the 1980s, Irvin Johnson's influence is also huge. Aaron glanced at Philip Anschutz. Perhaps he was behind Irvin Johnson's comeback. The Los Angeles Lakers were planning to build a multi-purpose indoor arena, a costly undertaking. Philip Anschutz certainly wouldn't fund it all himself. Convincing the Los Angeles City Council to invest was a necessary step. Aaron, I just formed Anschutz Entertainment and am planning to enter the film industry. Maybe we could partner with Universal in the future. Philip Anschutz was well-funded and had great confidence in entering the entertainment industry. Sure, Universal has been working with many production companies. If Anschutz Entertainment has a suitable project, Universal would be happy to support it. Hollywood has many production companies. Some specialize in production, relying on distributors for filming costs. Others cover a portion of the costs themselves, leaving the remainder to distributors. Hollywood's major distributors, in particular, favor wealthy individuals like these entering the entertainment industry, using their funds to produce films. Holding the film distribution rights and employing Hollywood-style accounting methods, they can maximize profits while simultaneously shifting risks. After chatting with Philip Anschutz, Aaron, in the lounge area, ran into Jeffrey Katzenberg from DreamWorks SKG. Good evening, Aaron. Good evening. I heard DreamWorks is developing its own animated feature, ANS. Jeffrey Katzenberg nodded. The idea for this project came up a long time ago. When I was at Disney, I wanted to develop Ant Army. Unfortunately, Disney Animation rejected the project, so it's now being developed by DreamWorks. Given Steven Spielberg's relationship with Universal, DreamWorks SKG's first animated feature film was distributed internationally by Universal. DreamWorks itself would distribute the North American market. In fact, in addition to ANS, Jeffrey Katzenberg is also developing another animated feature, The Prince of Egypt. Based on the biblical book of Exodus, it's an animated story about the Jewish people. Aaron smiled. It seems Disney's competition is going to get even more intense. Hollywood certainly can't ignore DreamWorks. Who dares to ignore the team of Jeffrey Katzenberg, Steven Spielberg, and David Geffen? DreamWorks' plan to establish its own distribution network in North America goes without saying. However, overseas, several major distributors, including Universal, are vying for exclusive international distribution rights for DreamWorks films. Unfortunately, DreamWorks is unwilling to sign an international distribution agreement with a single distributor. They expect other companies to compete for the rights through bidding. DreamWorks isn't interested in working with just one major distributor right now. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 392 The Time for Women's Rights. Annie, you're here too? Aaron was smoking in the garden of the Chateau Marmont when he spotted Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston was delighted to see him. She had previously acquired 300,000 shares of Dawning, and now she was worth tens of millions. New Moon Film's Sense and Sensibility received numerous Golden Globe nominations. It's a really well-made film, Jennifer Aniston praised Aaron after giving him a warm hug. Well, it's not bad. Your fame has only grown since the second season of Friends. Dawning Television had become a household name thanks to Friends and ER. You've got good taste. You've played a significant role in the success of Friends. Jennifer Aniston had risen from a minor supporting role in television to fame thanks to Friends. Furthermore, in the spring, she and Jim Carrey would be starring in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective 2. Aaron and Jennifer Aniston sat on a nearby bench. You have a real talent for comedy. You should take on more romantic comedies in the future, like Meg Ryan, Julia Roberts, and Nicole Kidman. Jennifer Aniston nodded. It's still early. They've all been famous for years. Besides romantic comedies, they've also performed in dramas. As for Jennifer Aniston, thanks to the support of Friends, her agent arranged for her to be portrayed as America's sweetheart. By the way, how is it working with Jim Carrey? It was great. Jim Carrey seems to have a natural comedic edge. He's got a lot of humor. Just by appearing, he's a comedic force. Jim Carrey's rise to fame was incredibly rapid. In just 1 year, he became a top-tier Hollywood actor. His $20 million salary for Kingsman set a new benchmark for Hollywood male stars. Aaron and Jennifer Aniston then left the Chateau Marmont together, encountering Rennie Harlin and Geena Davis, as well as actors John Travolta and Robert De Niro. Aaron, Cutthroat Island, the film they collaborated on, is quite famous. They made nearly $100 million at the box office, but it only grossed less than $10 million. I heard it's even in the Guinness Book of Losses. Jennifer Aniston couldn't help but sigh in the car. Cutthroat Island's disastrous failure, even worse than Waterworld's, completely slammed the pirate genre into the abyss. The various analyses in the newspapers have left Hollywood directors and producers with a psychological scar on the pirate genre. Aaron smiled and put out his hand to stroke Jennifer Aniston's thigh. This is definitely a cross-series stinker in Hollywood. However, Rennie Harlin and Geena Davis must also have problems. There were many problems in the filming process of Cutthroat Island. According to Aaron's point of view, Rennie Harlin is actually a good action director, and Geena Davis is also a good actress. It's just that the failure of Cutthroat Island is really scary, and the impact on the future of the two people is not so easy to erase. Aaron kissed the girl on the cheek. Actually, last year, Rennie Harlin and Geena Davis collaborated on another action movie. It's New Line Cinema's Spy. Jennifer Aniston smiled. I know this movie. I heard that New Line spent $3 million to purchase the script. The shooting budget of Spy is $65 million. However, they certainly didn't expect Cutthroat Island to achieve such a result. Otherwise, New Line would definitely not invite Rennie Harlin and Geena Davis. Aaron shrugged. The script of Spy is very good. But it's probably not the right time now. It should be developed in a few years, until women rise, and when the market accepts movies with female protagonists. The script of Spy tells the story of an ordinary female teacher who regains her memory due to a car accident, discovers that her true identity is a professional agent, and begins to look for the murderer who betrayed her. The story's bizarre plot, with a protagonist constantly living at the intersection of reality and illusion, creates a stark contrast and contradiction. Thelma and Louise pioneered this unique conception of amnesia, breaking with the traditional cinematic convention of women being perpetually cast in subordinate or feminine roles by featuring women as action protagonists, questioning and challenging female subjectivity. Is there a reason New Line paid $3 million for the script? A few years ago, Ridley Scott's Thelma and Louise became a landmark feminist film, achieving both critical and box office success. With Thelma and Louise, New Line clearly embraced the same philosophy, introducing a truly strong female protagonist, with a woman leading the thrilling action scenes. Compared to Cutthroat Island, the script for Spy Girl was far more exciting. Rennie Harlin and Geena Davis were actually very serious about Spy Girl. Unfortunately, Cutthroat Island's disastrous failure soured people's impression of the couple. Furthermore, the current market still finds it risky to use a female lead in an action film. Aaron, it seems you still value this script. Of course. The people at New Line Cinema are not fools. They have some foresight. However, the film's release is closely tied to the current market, and decisions must be made based on the development of the times and the current social environment. It was only the 1990s, and while Hollywood's patriarchal ideology wasn't at its peak, it certainly wasn't comparable to the 21st century. Returning to the Bel Air estate, Aaron and Jennifer Aniston joined the bathroom for a steamy bath together. Well, Jennifer Aniston leaned on Aaron's arms in the bathtub, and after the passionate kiss, she suddenly said, "You know Matthew Perry who played Chandler in Friends, right? He dated Julia Roberts for a while last year, and they often dated." Aaron smiled, stretched out his hand and rubbed the girl's chest. "Why, are you reminding me that I should go on a date with you? Do you have time? You are so busy, and your status is different now," Jennifer Aniston said, turning around and lying in Aaron's arms. "If possible, of course I hope so, don't worry, there will be a chance." Chapter 393 Art Film Director. In the morning, in a bedroom at Bel Air, Jennifer Aniston lay panting in Aaron's arms, her rosy face flushed with contentment. Aaron reached out and caressed the girl's body, a touch of satisfaction still lingering. "Honey, your figure is getting better and better," Jennifer Aniston smiled. "There's been a lot going on in Hollywood lately. I have to go to an NBC event later." Friends aired on NBC, and with such strong ratings, there were many celebratory receptions. NBC, I heard that NBC's Senior Executive Vice President of Production, Jamie Tussers, is leaving to join ABC, Jamie Tussers was the producer who partnered with Dawn TV to bring Friends to the show. He was arguably the second in command of NBC's production department. Well, I heard too. Ms. Jamie Tussers is joining Disney's ABC network as president of production, but I heard Ms. Tussers still has a year and a half left on her contract with NBC. I wonder how that's going to work out. While it's normal for networks to poach each other's talent, any inducement tactics are illegal. Aaron closed his eyes and smiled without saying anything. The current president of Disney is Michael Ovitz, who previously ran CAA. How could such a person play by the rules? But this is NBC. How could a company of that stature behave like CAA did? If there's something fishy going on, NBC will definitely not let it go. Jennifer Aniston left Aaron's estate at noon. Meanwhile, Twilight Pictures' comedy horror film Scream reached $100 million at the North American box office. Chinese-American director Ang Lee's new film, Sense and Sensibility, surpassed $50 million overseas and $10 million in North America. Thanks to its positive reputation, the number of theaters has increased significantly. Furthermore, Polygram's A Man Walking and Universal's 12 Monkeys have also begun expanding their releases after limited releases last year. After all, they were released earlier last year to comply with the award criteria. 12 Monkeys, a cerebral, time travel sci-fi film, has garnered widespread acclaim. Bruce Willis, shedding his star power, transforms into a vulnerable character, showcasing his vulnerable side. Furthermore, Brad Pitt's supporting role also captivated the audience. Austin Chronicle, director Terry Gilliam may be the most gifted surrealist filmmaker since Luis Buñuel. Although his latest film, 12 Monkeys, fits more into the category of science fiction than science fiction film, the film fully demonstrates his weird, disturbing and completely unique perspective. Los Angeles Times, Terry Gilliam has created a terrifying world full of clumsy metal devices whose main purpose is to scare the humans who use them. Terry Gilliam may do better than any other filmmaker today. He combines exaggerated and playful anarchism with fanatical obsession through his unique narrative talent. Washington Post, 12 Monkeys has a tendency to travel through time and space, as well as through internal and external landscapes. With the 1996, the 53rd American Film and Television Golden Globe Awards dinner was held at the Beverly Hills Hilton Hotel. Before the dinner began, Aaron also made an appearance at the hotel. After all, Sense and Sensibility and Apollo 13 were both nominated for Best Picture, Drama at the Golden Globe Awards. Was also nominated for Best Drama Series. By the way, are there any new projects coming up? In the banquet hall, Aaron clinked glasses with director Ang Lee. With Sense and Sensibility receiving numerous nominations, Ang Lee's fame had skyrocketed. Ang Lee shook his head and smiled. It's not confirmed yet, but Mr. James Shammas said he has a great novel he wants to recommend to me. It's The Ice Storm, a novel about America in the 1970s by author Rick Moody. Aaron nodded. Good Machine Pictures, founded by James Shammas, has a distribution deal with Crescent Moon, a subsidiary of Dawn Universal. Your talent has proven itself, and Universal will definitely support you. After all, Ang Lee's works are all arthouse films with a strong artistic quality, consistently acclaimed by film festivals and critics. Dawn's collaboration with Good Machine is simply a way to tie him up with Ang Lee. Thank you for Universal's support. I feel very comfortable working with you and can create freely. Although Aaron left the hotel before the Golden Globe Awards dinner began, he was still satisfied with the results of the Golden Globe Awards. Crescent Moon's Sense and Sensibility won the Golden Globe Award for Best Picture in the Drama category, and Universal's Pig Babe won the Best Picture in the Musical Comedy category. Nicolas Cage won the Best Actor in the Drama category for Leaving Las Vegas. John Travolta won the Best Actor in the Musical Comedy category for Get Shorty. Sharon Stone won the Best Actress in the Drama category for Casino. Julia Roberts won the Best Actress in the Musical Comedy category for To Die For. Mel Gibson won the Best Director for Braveheart. Brad Pitt and Mira Sorvino won the Best Supporting Actor and Actress for 12 Monkeys and Non-Powerful Aphrodisiac respectively. That night, Shu Guang held a celebration party at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills. After all, this time, they had won both the Golden Globe Awards for Best Picture, Drama, and Best Picture, Musical Comedy. Ang Lee, in particular, won the Best Picture, Drama, Golden Globe for his first English-language film. His talent was undeniable. Congratulations, Pitt. You did a great job as the psychopath on 12 Monkeys, much better than the thief in Thelma and Louise. Brad Pitt, with his status, Could have easily ignored such a minor role, but he genuinely loved it. This role has a lot of potential. I've been thoroughly prepared, even taking public speaking lessons from others. Brad Pitt smiled. He, too, had his ambitions. The budget for 12 Monkeys was just over $30 million, so Bruce Willis was essentially acting for free. Otherwise, how could they have been invited? I'm planning to restart the gas chamber project and have invited Ridley Scott to direct it. Now I hope you'll return too. Gas Chamber is based on John Grisham's novel of the same name. Last year, it was originally scheduled to be directed by Ron Howard and star Brad Pitt, but Ron Howard withdrew to direct Disney's Ransom, and Brad Pitt also withdrew shortly thereafter. Chapter 394 King of California. Originally, Universal Pictures was planning to continue the development of Gas Chamber after Ron Howard and Brad Pitt successively withdrew from the project. After all, Universal had already spent $5 million to acquire the adaptation rights for the novel and hire a screenwriter to adapt it. John Grisham, a renowned thriller novelist with previous successes such as The Pelicans and The Trap, was a major hit. With $4 million for the rights and an additional $1 million for the adaptation, Universal clearly didn't want to let the project go to waste. However, after Dawn acquired MCA, Aaron Anderson put many projects on hold and even sold a number. But Aaron was also optimistic about Gas Chamber, and Ridley Scott, the renowned director he had previously collaborated with on The Mask of Zorro, took the project. Brad Pitt nodded, "Of course I'd love to work with director Ridley Scott, of course." Even if the film wasn't directed by Ridley Scott, Brad Pitt wouldn't have turned it down. In Hollywood, turning down Aaron Anderson? Since directing The Mask of Zorro, Ridley Scott has only directed the action-adventure film The Wave last year. Universal invited him to direct The Gas Chamber, and he readily agreed, according to his agency, ICM. Last year, Universal released the children's family comedy Baby Pig, which was both a critical and box office success, grossing $63 million in North America and $250 million worldwide. Baby Pig tells the story of a farm pig who aspires to become a sheepdog. Narrated by Roscoe Brown, the film features a mix of real animals and animatronic puppets. San Francisco Chronicle. This Baby Pig is a novel movie that will amaze both children and adults. It is the pinnacle of entertainment and also provides the audience with a cheerful theme song. The rivalry between real people and animal actors in the film is also very real, which can make the audience involuntarily immersed in the story. Chicago Tribune. The human and animal characters in the film are very likable, and its storyline and visual effects are also refreshing to the audience. Both minors and elderly audiences will be moved by the plot of the film. Houston Post. The wonderful thing about Baby Pig is that it incorporates educational significance into the plot. The most important point is that these truths are integrated into the plot without any preaching, which is especially valuable for children. After a while, Lloyd Benson Jr. from Houston came to Aaron as the new director of Shugwang. Lloyd Benson Jr., the former U.S. Treasury Secretary, is specifically responsible for Shugwang's external and public relations. It was only after coming to Los Angeles that I realized how powerful Dawn is in Hollywood. Lloyd Benson Jr. was surprised. Dawn has only been established for a few years, but it has not only suppressed several old Hollywood film companies, it has also acquired Universal. Aaron smiled. In the new economic era, there are many opportunities in Hollywood. Lloyd Benson Jr. thought about it and asked, "Aaron, there is actually one thing I don't understand." After Dawn acquired Universal, the former MCA chairman Lew Wasserman's political resource network in Washington, D.C. is also not bad. Since President Lyndon Johnson, he has been integrated into the political circle. Why don't you use him to be in charge of Dawn's Public Relations Committee? Aaron took a sip of wine. Lew Wasserman does have a lot of political connections. In his early years, he was the #1 person in Hollywood. He helped Jack Valenti become the chairman of the MPAA, and he himself became the chairman of the Motion Picture and Television Producers of America. In the 1970s, the MCA controlled by Lew Wasserman was extremely powerful, with economic businesses, movies, records and other media empires. Unfortunately, he didn't strive for progress, simply watching MCA fade away amidst the Hollywood wave. The various Hollywood strikes significantly diminished his prestige within the Producers Alliance. If it weren't for Steven Spielberg's revival of Universal, it would have fallen behind. Everyone knows how MCA performed until Panasonic acquired it. At the time, MCA's stock price only rose during Lew Wasserman's illness, which speaks volumes. Aaron had already ruled out the old-fashioned, Outdated Lew Wasserman. If Panasonic hadn't signed him a lifetime contract, Aaron would have even shut down MCA, the record company that had provided him with a retirement. As expected, Lloyd Bentsen Jr., who knew a bit about Hollywood, warned him. Lew Wasserman, once the most powerful figure in Hollywood, was challenged by the late Time Warner chairman Steve Ross. The White House called, hoping to continue to gain Hollywood's support for this year's presidential election. Lloyd Bentsen Jr. warned. Aaron nodded. No problem. Hollywood will definitely support him. Besides, with the U.S. economy improving, the president's re-election is practically a sure thing. Don't worry at all. As long as our president avoids a few sex scandals. Aaron's mind raced back to Monica Lewinsky, whom he had met in the White House corridor. Lloyd Bentsen Jr. smiled. The advantage this year is indeed huge. Aaron changed the subject. Well, what do you think of the Universal Orlando renovation? I heard there's some trouble there. Lloyd Bentsen Jr. pondered for a moment. Environmental organizations there are opposing Universal Orlando's occupation of nearby tidal flats and marshes. They say we're occupying animal habitats and are organizing protests. We can send someone to lobby the leaders. Things like this are all about competing interests. I'm guessing Disney is behind it. Yes, Disney funds a lot of organizations there. Aaron understood, of course. After all, Universal Studios and Disneyland are their biggest competitors. Aaron smiled. That's good. At least the council has approved the expansion of Universal Orlando. Dealing with those people shouldn't take long. Dawn's substantial investment in Orlando has garnered support from all levels of government in Orlando and Florida. It will significantly benefit the local economy and employment, and the council members will be eager to promote it for their own political credentials. Aaron's influence in Southern California is rapidly growing, and it's time to turn his attention to Northern California. In the future, Aaron aims to be the king of California. Chapter 395, Fantastic Thoughts. Having Lloyd Bentsen Jr., the former U.S. Treasury Secretary, in charge of public relations is definitely a boon for Dawn. Aaron still has $360 million in cash flow waiting to be spent, so diversification is essential. He must not just focus on entertainment and finance, but also on public investment in energy and manufacturing. Investments in water, natural gas, and food, those that touch people's lives, may not generate much profit, but hold immense political weight. After leaving the Four Seasons Hotel, Aaron went to a bar in West Hollywood for a date with Winona Ryder, who is waiting. The celebration party is over so soon. Winona Ryder was, of course, aware of Dawn's Golden Globe Awards celebration tonight. Aaron, sitting on the sofa, shook his head, hugged Winona Ryder and kissed her. No way, I came to see you. Winona Ryder couldn't deny it. Could it be that the famous Aaron Anderson doesn't have a beautiful woman by his side? With Sugwang's IPO, Winona Ryder received 400,000 shares of Sugwang stock, a considerable sum of capital. Aaron smiled and reached out to grope the girl for a moment. Why do you feel like you've become more plump? Winona Ryder was amused. Why, did you feel so bad before? Aaron said nothing, simply kissing the girl on the lips, their lips and tongues entwined with passion. Winona Ryder had released a low-budget romance film, Love Weaving Dreams, distributed by Universal last year. It was a mediocre success, grossing only $23 million in North America and a mere $41 million worldwide. It was far inferior to the low-budget comedy horror film Scream. Well, okay, let's have a drink first. I know the results of tonight's Golden Globe Awards. Dawn won a landslide. After the kiss, Winona Ryder poured 2 glasses of wine and handed one to Aaron. The two clinked their glasses. Aaron took a sip and stood up. I'm going to the bathroom. Aaron had already drunk some wine at the celebration party. After reaching the restroom, Aaron received a call from Jack Wells. Are you still at the celebration party at the Four Seasons? Aaron replied, I left. What's up? Oh, I'm back in Los Angeles. I'm meeting downtown with Archbishop Roger Mahoney of the Catholic Archdiocese of Los Angeles. As you know, the Los Angeles earthquake 2 years ago severely damaged the Cathedral of St. Vibiana, the Cathedral of the Catholic Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Repairs are difficult, so St. Vibiana was closed last year. Now the Archdiocese of Los Angeles is missing a cathedral. Archbishop Roger Mahoney wants to raise funds to build a cathedral. Listening to the caller's words, Aaron understood what the other party meant. Archbishop Roger Mahoney was looking for funds. Let's make an appointment tomorrow and meet. Christians make up over 85% of the American population, with Catholics being the largest, followed by Baptists, Methodists, Lutherans, and other Protestant branches. The church holds considerable influence in the United States, and maintaining a cooperative relationship with it is, of course, essential. The Catholic Church in the United States consists of 194 regional churches, called dioceses, each led by a bishop. There are also 32 archdioceses, each governed by its own archbishop as a metropolitan bishop. The Archdiocese of Los Angeles, part of the Los Angeles Diocese, governs the Catholics of Central and Southern California, including the dioceses of Fresno, Monterey, Orange, San Bernardino, and San Diego. After leaving the restroom, Aaron was still a little puzzled, as the Archdiocese of Los Angeles is undoubtedly one of the wealthiest dioceses in the United States. How could the Archdiocese of Los Angeles be so short of money? "Hi, Aaron, good evening," a man approached and greeted Aaron. "Oh, it's Michael." It was Hollywood actor Michael Douglas, whose performance in last year's film, The American President, earned him a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy. "Congratulations. Don has won big at the Golden Globe," Michael Douglas said, shaking Aaron's hand. Aaron smiled. "That movie you starred in, The American President, seems pretty good." Most of the press has been positive. Michael Douglas had previously dropped out of the project for Cutthroat Island to film The American President. At least it's already grossed over $50 million at the North American box office. By comparison, Nixon, also released late last year and directed by Oliver Stone and starring Anthony Hopkins, Powers Booth, and Joan Allen, only grossed a little over $10 million. Michael Douglas smiled and said, "Thank you, but I found a script from Dawn that seems interesting. It's about an FBI agent and a terrorist gang. To find a secret bomb hidden in a city, the FBI agent undergoes face transplant surgery on the terrorists and infiltrates them to investigate." Michael Douglas was referring to Face Off, a script Universal was developing. "Oh, Michael, are you interested in Face Off?" Aaron inquired. Michael Douglas thought for a moment, then explained, "Aaron, besides being an actor, I'm also a filmmaker. The story of Face Off is very creative. If we develop it into an action blockbuster and cast Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think it will be a huge hit." Aaron was stunned for a few seconds. What was he talking about? He was talking about casting Stallone and Schwarzenegger in Face Off? "Michael, you're right, aren't you? Casting both Stallone and Schwarzenegger in the same film?" Aaron asked uncertainly. Michael Douglas shrugged. "A good script, of course, deserves the best action stars." Aaron laughed. Michael Douglas was truly whimsical. Never mind the budget for Face Off, getting Stallone and Schwarzenegger in a film was incredibly challenging. Schwarzenegger was currently in his prime, and while Stallone had previously had a few flops, he was still a top-tier action star. And, as we all know, Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger are old rivals, fierce rivals. How could they possibly work together now? Even if they did, the combined pay for both would be $40 million. How much money did this guy expect Guan to pay for Face Off? And didn't the production company founded by Michael Douglas have a distribution agreement with Paramount? Chapter 396. The Church is Powerful. Aaron wondered what Michael Douglas was thinking, posing as a potential co-star for Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger in Face Off. However, Aaron already had a plan in mind, and naturally, he had no interest in working with Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas was already quite famous. The film Information he co-starred with Demi Moore 2 years prior had grossed over $200 million worldwide. "Aaron, what are you thinking about?" Winona Ryder asked excitedly, sitting on top of Aaron in the bedroom of their West Hollywood villa. Nothing," Aaron smiled, reaching out to caress her soft flesh. "Want to continue?" "Of course." Aaron stood up, hugged Winona Ryder, and kissed her. After a while, Aaron, lying in bed, breathed a sigh of relief, and couldn't help but stroke Winona Ryder's hair, enjoying her service. The next afternoon, Aaron made a point of attending a fundraising dinner for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Jack Wells specifically introduced Aaron to Archbishop Roger Mahoney of the Catholic Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Street. Vibiana Cathedral, the cathedral of the Catholic Archdiocese of Los Angeles, is closed. "Any ideas for a new church?" Aaron asked. Roger Mahoney nodded. "We hope to buy a piece of land near the downtown viaduct and build a new church, then the name will be given by Rome," Jack Wells asked from the side. "What about the old Cathedral of St. Vibiana? It seems to be many years old." "What does the church plan to do with it?" Roger Mahoney spread his hands. After discussion, the church plans to donate it to the city government. We hope someone can renovate it and turn it into an ordinary church, Aaron smiled. Bishop Mahoney, why not turn it into a small church museum? Many of the things inside have certain historical significance. Even if you donate it to the city government, it will probably still be idle. The city government will definitely not want to spend millions of dollars to renovate it. Roger Mahoney's eyes lit up. This is a great proposal. If it really works, our church will definitely support it, Aaron cursed in his heart. So they came to him just for this old church? Okay, then I will fund the renovation of the Cathedral of St. Vibiana and convert it into a church museum. Aaron spread his hands. Roger Mahoney made the sign of the cross. Aaron, the Lord bless you. That evening, Aaron and Jack Wells returned to the Angel Theater. Hey, Aaron, I feel like we're losing money. Building a new church will make a few $100,000, and the church won't be short of money, but renovating St. Vibiana's cathedral will cost millions, Jack Wells grumbled as he drank his whiskey. Aaron leaned back in his chair, his feet propped up on the table, puffing on a thin cigar and smiling. No big deal, I don't need that little money. When this museum is built, the Los Angeles Archbishop will definitely owe me a favor. By the way, how did you get to know Archbishop Roger Mahoney? Jack Wells curled his lips. My father used to help the church with some matters. You know, places like the church and orphanages are pretty shady. Aaron nodded. Jack Wells' family was a private investigator and bounty hunter. It wasn't surprising that he'd be involved in some of the church's dirty work. The United States, a country known for its religious diversity, has significant disparities between the religious distribution of its population and religious representation in its political institutions. However, Christianity is undoubtedly the mainstream in political institutions, especially Catholics, who have the highest representation in Congress. Okay, the church holds a lot of land assets. Next, I plan to cooperate with them in real estate development. The church's wealth is real, especially its vast real estate holdings. The owner of the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, Los Angeles, is the Los Angeles Church. Jack Wells nodded. A few $1 million really meant nothing to Aaron, and maintaining good relations with the Archdiocese of Los Angeles was a sure thing. By the way, will you be attending the NBA All-Star Game next month at the Dawn Center in Houston? The decision to host this year's NBA All-Star Game in Houston was made 2 years ago. After all, the Dawn Center in Houston is currently the most luxurious and technologically advanced arena in the entire NBA. San Antonio, also in Texas, also competed, but unfortunately, couldn't match Houston. I don't know, it depends. The Rockets are currently riddled with injuries, their performance has declined significantly, and their hopes of winning the championship are slim. How's Rodman? Speaking of Dennis Rodman, Jack Wells got a headache. This guy is really good at making trouble. The nightclubs in Houston have basically become his home. Fortunately, the Rockets have Elijah Wan who can control the situation. Otherwise, the locker room would probably explode. This season, the Chicago Bulls in the East have performed well, but they certainly don't have the terrifying record of 72 wins and 10 losses in their previous lives. The combination of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen really can't be underestimated. Next, I'm going to Japan. The project of Universal Studios Osaka is about to start. I'm going to attend the groundbreaking ceremony. Universal Studios Osaka is the first Universal Studios in Dawning's overseas expansion, so of course it must be taken seriously. Tokyo Disneyland can't be left out in the spotlight. Jack Wells smiled. The Houston Rockets are really a small business for you. Sugwon will face greater competition and difficulties after going public. I heard MGM has been trying to reclaim Time Warner's MGM film library. Does Sugwon have any ideas? Aaron waved his hand. Forget it. The Seagram Group isn't short of money. Edgar Bronfman Jr. previously failed in his bid for MCA Group. If I challenged him for MGM's film library again, he won't be happy. Jack Wells stretched. Would you like to come with me to Palm Springs? There are lots of hot girls there. You go ahead. I'm planning to buy some plantations and ranches these days. Aaron had almost finished a vineyard he'd planned to give Wang Xiuxin. Furthermore, Aaron himself was also planning to buy ranches in Colorado and Montana. With the Golden Globe Awards over, the annual Super Bowl was about to begin. The 1995 Super Bowl final would be held at the end of this year in Tampa, Florida. Chapter 397 Aaron's ambition is great. Paradise Ranch, located in the San Luis Valley in southeastern Conejos County, Colorado, covers 83,000 acres. It boasts a mountain over 14,000 feet above sea level, over 100 miles of fishing and hunting waterways, and 80% of the area is forested. $69 million. Aaron looked at the information. The price was reasonable. Mr. Anderson, this ranch also has thousands of elk and sheep, but 1/3 of the land is off limits to development due to legal requirements. Livestock, timber, hunting, and entertainment are the primary businesses, the agent explained in detail. Aaron nodded. I'd also like to buy a ranch in Montana. Also, I need a small winery in France. With the Super Bowl underway, the price of halftime show commercials has risen to $1.2 million for 30 seconds. The trailers for Suzuki's blockbuster films Twister and Independence Day have been released, highlighting Suzuki's ambitions for the summer box office. At the Samuel Gerwin Theater in Beverly Hills, the second Screen Actors Guild Awards took place, following the Golden Globes and before the Oscars. Nicolas Cage won Best Actor for Leaving Las Vegas, Susan Sarandon won Best Actress for A Man Walking, Ed Harris won Best Supporting Actor for Apollo 13, and Kate Winslet won Best Supporting Actress for Sense and Sensibility. Meanwhile, James Cameron's epic maritime disaster romance, Titanic, was facing a budget crisis. James, we haven't even started shooting yet? And you've already spent $90 million, Peter Chernin roared from the offices of 20th Century Fox headquarters in the Fox Plaza building in Century City, Los Angeles. James Cameron spread his hands. That's the situation. I need the money. Peter Chernin's face twitched. Titanic still hasn't even decided on its lead actors. How much are you planning to spend? Aren't you aware of the disastrous performances of Waterworld and Cutthroat Island last year? James Cameron crossed his arms and stared at Peter Chernin. Anyway, I still have $5 million left in the account. According to projections, I'll need at least $100 million to complete the film. Peter Chernin held his forehead. Universal's Waterworld cost $175 million to produce, a record. Now, was James Cameron trying to break that record? The board needs to discuss this, Peter Chernin said. Of course, he couldn't make the final decision. If James Cameron didn't have the track record of the Terminator series and True Lies, he would have been fired long ago. Now, the Titanic project had to be decided by Chairman Rupert Murdoch. With reports of the difficulties facing 20th Century Fox's Titanic project, media outlets were skeptical. After all, the recent releases of Cutthroat Island and Waterworld had truly terrified Hollywood. Cutthroat Island, in particular, had a production budget of $95 million and only grossed $9.7 million. Meanwhile, Aaron arrived at Yahoo headquarters in the southern San Francisco Bay Area to attend a seminar on its IPO. SoftBank, Masayoshi-san, Aaron muttered as he soaked in the hot tub at the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco. Masayoshi-san had invested heavily in Yahoo earlier this year, owning a larger stake than Aaron's Cheyenne fund. Aaron, Yahoo IPO, right? Jennifer Connelly huddled in Aaron's arms and kissed him on the cheek. Aaron smiled, feeling Jennifer Connelly's heat. Sure, why not? Netscape's IPO last year set a precedent. Yahoo's revenue last year was only $1.3 million, with a net loss of $630,000. But the market had immense confidence in Yahoo, so an IPO for a loss-making tech company wasn't a problem. After all, Netscape was also losing money. Netscape, Wall Street is keeping a close eye on these upstart tech companies. The government is also providing strong support to the tech sector. Jennifer Connelly had been involved since Aaron's investment in AOL and could sense the booming tech industry. Aaron sighed. Silicon Valley is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the United States. With the advent of the internet, Silicon Valley will revolutionize the lives of ordinary people. Aaron kissed Jennifer Connelly on the mouth. Did anyone in Seattle call? After arriving in San Francisco, Aaron sent someone to Seattle, Washington, to acquire Amazon, the online bookstore. Jennifer Connelly shook her head. The other party's founding team didn't agree. They were only willing to sell 20% of our shares as a partnership in exchange for $12 million in expansion funding, but Amazon is also very willing to work with Su Guang to sell books, videotapes, and music records online. Su Guang owns the Putman Publishing Group, so collaborating with Amazon is a natural fit. Amazon was founded 2 years ago by Jeff Bezos, also a young man. Okay, in the future, Su Guang can work with Amazon to establish an online website specifically for selling movie videotapes and DVDs. Aaron's ambitions were certainly not small. The upcoming release of DVDs made him envious of the future market. Although the current movie and home entertainment market was dominated by videotapes, Blockbuster, the leading videotape company, was seeing its valuation decline. It was simply because the formation of the DVD Alliance and the new home consumer market were bound to bring about change. The development of VCDs in China has already given us a glimpse of the future of DVDs, which is undoubtedly limitless. Last year, sales of VCD players in China exceeded 1 million, and this year's figure is expected to increase several times over. The mushrooming of VCD manufacturers has kept VCD prices down. Jennifer Connelly smiled and poured 2 glasses of champagne. After Yahoo goes public, it would be great if its stock price could soar like Netscape's. It will, Aaron said, taking a sip of champagne, unwavering in his belief in Yahoo's rise. Cheyenne Hay Fund's 15% stake in Yahoo will be worth $100 billion or $200 billion in a few years. And then there's AOL. If Aaron could sell his holdings before the dot-com bubble bursts, he could have tens of billions more. Although Aaron's Cheyenne Hay Fund only owns less than 5% of AOL, Sugwang Group owns 10% of AOL, having previously acquired it from Paul Allen. Chapter 398 Record-breaking Blockbuster. In mid-February, just as Aaron was leaving Northern California for Los Angeles, preparing to travel to Japan, news broke that 20th Century Fox was seeking investors to co-develop James Cameron's new film, Titanic. In Aaron's office at Universal's headquarters in Burbank, Aaron leaned back in his chair, his lips twitching. It's James Cameron again. He's driven Hollywood's film production costs to $200 million. Don Steele, standing nearby, asked uncertainly, do we really want to work with 20th Century Fox? After all, Universal had just experienced a failure of Waterworld. A $65 million investment in exchange for the North American distribution rights for Titanic. The film is a co-production between 20th Century Fox and Universal. Aaron smiled. Sure, we have to trust James Cameron. Since 20th Century Fox is willing to invest $135 million, doesn't Universal dare to invest $65 million? Don Steele's eyes widened. But then we'll have to invest at least $30 million in marketing expenses. This means that Sugwang will have to invest nearly $100 million in the Titanic project. In the future, Titanic's North American box office will have to reach $200 million. Moreover, at the current rate of progress, it's still unknown whether Titanic can be released during the summer of next year. Don't worry, replied Peter Chernin. Sugwang is following this round. Seeing Aaron Anderson's confidence, Don Steele agreed. Okay, on the other side, at Paramount headquarters at 555 Melrose Avenue in Hollywood, Paramount chairman Sherry Lansing was also considering the possibility of collaborating with 20th Century Fox. A moment later, Sherry Lansing's assistant arrived at her office. Ms. Lansing, Universal Pictures president Don Steele has announced that Universal has agreed to invest $65 million in the Titanic project. We're co-developing Titanic with 20th Century Fox, with each party holding North American and international distribution rights. Universal agreed, Sherry Lansing sighed. When had Universal ever been willing to work with other distributors? Ever since Sherry Lansing took over, Paramount had frequently partnered with other distributors on film developments, including Warner Brothers and 20th Century Fox. Paramount's primary interest was in sharing risk, regardless of the partner. Could it be that Aaron Anderson is also optimistic about Titanic? Sherry Lansing was puzzled. Universal had just experienced a failure of Waterworld. How could they dare invest in another ocean-themed film? Forget it, Sherry Lansing said, a bit irritated. After Don acquired Universal, it withdrew from its partnership with Paramount, United International Pictures, UIP. After more than half a year, Don had already integrated Universal's assets. UIP in some European countries and regions had already been reorganized, and Don Universal International Pictures was gradually being established. Paramount, of course, couldn't fall behind and needed to establish its own international distribution network. By the way, is there any progress on Face Off, the project Michael Douglas wanted to collaborate on with Universal? Sherry Lansing inquired. The assistant shook her head. Universal has no interest in Mr. Douglas's proposal. They don't think it's feasible to cast Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the same film. Besides, according to Universal's thinking, they don't like to use those kind of special-looking action actors. They seem to prefer younger actors. Bad Boys used 2 relatively unknown black actors, and Rush Hour even used an Asian actor. The Rock had Sean Connery, But Nicolas Cage was also important. Sherry Lansing leaned back in her chair. Aaron likes to develop special effects blockbusters. The trailers for Independence Day and Twister and the Super Bowl halftime show both had high investments. He passed up on the 1989 film starring Sylvester Stallone. It seems he really doesn't like this type of action actor. There is a market for special action actors like Schwarzenegger and Stallone, but they are also expensive. Stallone, in particular, has had several flops. Apart from muscle-based action films, he is simply not suited to other genres. Paramount's performance has been poor in recent years. Last year, only one epic blockbuster, Braveheart, directed and starred by Mel Gibson, performed well, but it was also a collaboration with 20th Century Fox. Paramount was responsible for the North American distribution of Braveheart, and the box office only reached $75 million, while 20th Century Fox was responsible for the overseas market, which achieved a result of $130 million. Last year, Paramount didn't even release a single film that broke the $100 million mark at the North American box office. Its highest-grossing film, the African jungle drama Congo, only grossed $80 million. This year, Paramount's main release is Mission: Impossible starring Tom Cruise. Sherry Lansing knew that if Paramount's performance didn't improve, Summer Redstone would undoubtedly replace her. Summer Redstone's philosophy is that content is king. As one of Hollywood's top studios, Paramount would absolutely not tolerate failing to provide high-quality content for distribution to Viacom's television networks. These include MTV, Showtime, UPN, Nickelodeon, Lifetime, Comedy Central, CC, jointly owned with Time Warner, and USA Cable, which it owns with Sugan. Viacom's television distribution network is undoubtedly formidable, especially since Viacom now controls Blockbuster, the world's largest video rental chain. 20th Century Fox was, of course, unaware of Paramount's predicament, but after Sugan agreed to co-finance with Universal, the company finally felt relieved. Had 20th Century Fox truly been solely responsible for Titanic, the production budget, including subsequent marketing expenses, would have reached $300 million. Even 20th Century Fox would have struggled to meet such a massive investment. 20th Century Fox, after all, was not afraid of making blockbusters. Back in the 1960s, it spent over $40 million on the epic Cleopatra, starring Elizabeth Taylor, nearly bankrupting the company. Later, it even backed George Lucas on Star Wars. Perhaps the aftermath of Waterworld and Cutthroat Island left 20th Century Fox uncertain about James Cameron's Titanic. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 399. Excited Fujiwara Norika, Osaka, Japan. Kanahana Ward, located in western Osaka City, near Osaka Bay, is the site of Universal Studios Japan. The groundbreaking ceremony was attended by the governor of Osaka Prefecture, representatives from Sumitomo Real Estate, and Akabano, along with Aaron and his team. Universal Studios Japan is expected to officially open in January 1999, Tom Williams explained to Aaron after returning to the hotel. Aaron nodded. The Sumitomo Group has significant influence in the Kansai region, and partnering with them will help us avoid unnecessary complications. However, Aaron wasn't convinced that 150 billion yen would be enough to cover the cost of Universal Studios Japan. He feared the budget would go over, and he had a 50 billion yen margin of return. After reaching a high in mid last year, the yen has since depreciated steadily, now trading at 102 yen to the dollar. That night, in the hotel bedroom, Norika Fujiwara lay in Aaron's arms, her 34E figure on full display. Sony's recently released PlayStation Home console is selling really well, Aaron couldn't help but exclaim. Yet, sales are sky high. They say the PlayStation is a groundbreaking product, Fujiwara Norika said, kissing Aaron on the cheek. Aaron nodded, then remembered a Capcom commercial he'd seen earlier. Capcom was about to release a horror game called Resident Evil, which was being heavily promoted. 2 years ago, Capcom, based in Osaka, even invested in a Hollywood film adaptation of its own game, Street Fighter. Aaron wasn't about to underestimate the upcoming release of Resident Evil, a record-breaking hit. He planned to have Twilight Pictures adapt the game. By the way, after this Osaka thing is over, We'll go back to Tokyo. I've specially bought a villa in Tokyo's Shibuya district. I'm sure you'll like it, Aaron said, feeling the softness in his arms. Well, Universal Studios Osaka doesn't need Onizen anymore, does it? Aaron shook his head. Let's build it slowly. It'll take 3 years to complete. Later, Aaron met with representatives from SoftBank and Yahoo in Tokyo, and a three-party joint venture was established, Yahoo Japan. SoftBank held a 51% stake in Yahoo Japan, Yahoo Global held a 25% stake, and Aaron's Asian investment fund, Heihua, held a 24% stake. That evening, in Ginza, Tokyo, SoftBank's head, Masayoshi-san, invited Aaron to dinner. Mr. Anderson, you're very confident in Yahoo Japan, aren't you? SoftBank invested $72 million and Aaron $33 million to establish Yahoo Japan, marking Yahoo Global's first overseas subsidiary. Aaron smiled and said, SoftBank's significant investment in Yahoo is truly astonishing. I trust my own judgment. Aaron knew Yahoo Japan had a bright future. A SoftBank-controlled Yahoo Japan would be in line with Japanese localization, and fortunately, it wouldn't be run by Yahoo itself. Last year, SoftBank spent $890 million to acquire the Computex trade show in Las Vegas, and then they made a big investment in Yahoo. SoftBank's name is truly worthy of its name. Computex is the world's largest computer show. Its previous owner was Sheldon Adelson, owner of the Las Vegas Sands Hotel and Casino. Sheldon Adelson sold Computex to raise funds for the new Venetian resort in Las Vegas. Masayoshi-san is committed to investing in the technology industry, and acquiring Computex is also a way to better invest in the future. Sun smiled and clinked his glass with Aaron. Mr. Adelson wants to build a more luxurious, large-scale resort hotel on the side of the Sands Hotel. The sale of Computex is also to raise funds. The Las Vegas Sands Hotel and Casino will be demolished this year to make way for the Venetian resort. In Shibuya Ward, Tokyo, Aaron purchased a luxurious 2-story European-style villa for Norika Fujiwara. It boasts 475 square meters of living space and nearly 300 square meters of outdoor garden. Oni-san, it's so beautiful here, Fujiwara Norika said happily, hugging Aaron tightly. Well, you deserve it. Aaron pulled the girl to sit on the sofa. Fujiwara Norika spent most of her time in Japan. After all, Aaron didn't come here for long each year. I heard Oni-san's company went public and is now the 4th largest entertainment group in the world. By the way, Universal's movie Babe Piggy earned 1.25 billion yen at the box office in Japan, which is doing very well. Fujiwara Norika knew that Universal Pictures was a promising film. Aaron nodded. It seems that Japan really likes this type of work. In the Japanese film market, animation has always been the mainstream. Although Babe Piggy is not an animation, it belongs in the family and children's category. Animation and drama works perform better in Japan, while other Hollywood special effects blockbusters perform less well. Universal has another film called 12 Monkeys, a sci-fi, brain-burning film that should be released in Japan too. It should also suit Japanese audiences' tastes, and I don't think the box office will be too bad. The performance of 12 Monkeys in the US was quite average. After all, there isn't much of a market for this type of work there. The North American market still prefers special effects blockbusters and action movies, as well as American romantic comedies that suit their tastes. Fujiwara Norika smiled. Any Oni-san's movies will do well at the box office. At night, Aaron lay on top of Fujiwara Norika in their bedroom bed. Tomorrow, let's go to the hot springs in Hakone. I wanted to come over during Christmas, but unfortunately I didn't have time. At that time, Aaron and Nicole Kidman went to Australia, where they met Cate Blanchett. Although he and Cate Blanchett had a wonderful New Year's holiday together, he has always been fond of Japan's winter hot springs. Okay, Fujiwara Norika hugged Aaron Anderson tightly. You can go to the hot springs anytime you want, Oni-san. The temperature is pretty low right now, so it'll be really nice to soak there. Yeah, Aaron said, lowering his head and kissing the girl on the mouth. Soon, Fujiwara Norika's suppressed moans filled the bedroom. Because Aaron had purchased this luxurious villa specifically for her, Fujiwara Norika did everything she could to please him. They tossed and turned until late at night before finally falling into deep sleep. Chapter 400, Winning People's Hearts. Aaron's main reason for coming to Japan was the groundbreaking ceremony for Universal Studios Japan in Osaka, and secondarily to participate in the formation of Yahoo Japan. In fact, in Aaron's opinion, Yahoo Japan was even more important than Universal Studios Japan. Meanwhile, the 1995 Academy Award nominations were announced. Don's Baby Pig, Apollo 13, and Sense and Sensibility were nominated for Best Picture, along with the Italian-made The Postman and Paramount's Braveheart. Braveheart led the nominations with 10, followed closely by Apollo 13 with 9. In early March, Aaron arrived in Hong Kong. With the approach of 1997, the city was increasingly anxious. In Causeway Bay, Wan Chai District, Hong Kong. In a luxurious high-rise villa, Aaron stood by the window with Yang Gongru in his arms, admiring the night view of Causeway Bay. "How do you like it?" Aaron asked, kissing the girl on the cheek. Yang Gongru turned her head and responded for a moment, her face beaming with joy. "So beautiful." After Shu Guang went public, Aaron had to prepare a gift for his woman, and this 270 square meter high-rise villa was given to Yang Gongru. Ever since winning the Miss Asia Hong Kong ATV beauty pageant last year, Yang Gongru has signed with ATV. Currently, she's filming her first ATV series, which will air next month. The news says there's a line of tens of thousands of people outside the Hong Kong Immigration Bureau. Is that true? With Hong Kong's return to power in sight, a large number of Hong Kong residents are looking to immigrate. It's true. Many people want to immigrate to Commonwealth countries, primarily the UK, Canada, and Australia. However, Yang Gongru, a Canadian citizen herself, isn't overly concerned. Aaron smiled. "Oh, they are a bunch of short-sighted guys. Once you go abroad, won't you be a second-class citizen in name only?" Yang Gongru turned around and hugged the man. "Well, are you optimistic about the return of Hong Kong?" Aaron said casually. "One country, two systems, there is no change. Hong Kong's economy is developed, and you can be a first-class citizen if you stay here. What's more, there is a multi-billion market on the other side, and Hong Kong is an offshore financial port. Even if you do nothing, you can live a comfortable life every year just by importing and exporting. As for the British, who knows them better than us Americans, it's pure dreaming to expect a group of opium dealers and pirates to keep their word." Yang Gongru smiled. "I think you are reluctant to give up the Chinese market. What you said is it?" Aaron laughed. He then embraced Yang Gongru and kissed her deeply. Meanwhile, back in Hollywood, the sequel to Ace Ventura, starring Jim Carrey and Jennifer Aniston, released by Dawn Productions, opened. It grossed $37.8 million in its opening weekend, topping the weekly box office. Like its predecessor, Jim Carrey's comedies have always been panned by critics. The San Francisco Chronicle wrote, "Carrey's upturned hair, tropical shirts, strange waterproof pants, and exaggerated expressions and movements give the audience a sense of being out of control." The Washington Post wrote, "Ace Ventura is a truly terrible film." The Houston Post wrote, "Jim Carrey's unique talent and physical agility bring a lot of fun to the audience, and his performance completely saves the film." Regardless of the newspaper's assessments, Jim Carrey's appeal is undeniable. And Ace Ventura performed far better than its predecessor. Fresh off the release of Ace Ventura, The Lost Ark, Universal immediately announced plans for a new film starring Jim Carrey. With a $20 million salary, they've cast him in the comedy Liar Liar, set for next summer's release. Meanwhile, the Academy of Motion Picture and Television announced that Christopher Reeve, the actor known for the Superman series, will be present at the 68th Academy Awards. Last May, 44-year-old Christopher Reeve broke his neck after falling from his horse during an equestrian competition in Virginia. Hospital diagnosis confirmed fractures in the first and second cervical vertebrae and severe spinal cord damage, leaving him paralyzed from the neck down. Although he has shown improvement with treatment, his condition remains critical. The Academy Awards Committee made meticulous arrangements to invite him to the upcoming awards ceremony. To ensure Christopher Reeve's safe flight from New York to Los Angeles, medical personnel carried him on a stretcher onto a plane equipped with a respirator, heart monitors, and a monitor. Several doctors and nurses were on standby, and a dedicated ambulance was provided for both boarding and disembarking. Because long-distance flights pose significant risks for a patient like Christopher Reeve, the Academy Awards Committee spent over $200,000 on insurance alone. The total cost to the Academy Awards Committee for Christopher Reeve's trip alone was no less than $400,000. Christopher Reeve was chosen to star in 4 consecutive Superman films, beginning in 1978. He immortalized the image of Superman and imbued the character with a heroic spirit. In the Superman series, Christopher Reeve projected his personal charisma onto a fictional figure, transforming the somewhat stereotypical hero from a flat, monotonous character into a three-dimensional, full-bodied one. Christopher Reeve's rise to fame stemmed from the Superman series, but at the same time, this version of Christopher Reeve's Superman was impossible to replicate or recreate. Warner Brothers had long considered remaking Superman, but Reeve's on-screen portrayal was so deeply rooted in the hearts of the audience. It could be said that every characteristic of Superman embodied Christopher Reeve's spirit and charisma, a perfect embodiment of his personal charisma. This time, due to Christopher Reeve's unfortunate injury, the Academy Awards invitation to the awards ceremony was widely praised both inside and outside Hollywood. The public, in particular, was deeply moved by the Academy Awards' humanistic approach, which won over a significant number of people. Of course, Aaron wasn't particularly concerned with Hollywood's affairs. Because the Chinese New Year has passed, Aaron specially experienced the Chinese Lantern Festival in Hong Kong. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.